Hello and welcome to KG5 Wet Weather Footy TSL action round 2. Glenorchy and Clarence, two powerhouse clubs in Tasmanian football. Such a treasured and storied rivalry between these two clubs, and 2021 meeting for the first time this season. As you can see here, it is touch wet at the moment. We're expecting some showers on and off throughout the afternoon as these two teams go to battle. Glenorchy's first game of the season after having the bye in round 1. Clarence coming into this one after a narrow loss to Lauderdale down at Skybus Oval last weekend. My name is Anthony Osborne, bringing you the action today alongside Andrew Cooling. Andrew, great to be next to you and looking forward to a fascinating game between two young sides.
Yeah, two very young sides out here this afternoon. As you mentioned, wet weather footy it will be this afternoon between the Magpies and Roos. The Magpies, our first look at them this year. I don't reckon anyone wants to have the bye in round 1 of the season. That's not what anyone wants. So they'll be out there rearing to go today, I've no doubt. Up against a Clarence team who'll probably feel a missed opportunity last week. Obviously, the play on in the forward line in the dying seconds, the big moment in that game, and it just saw them falling short. But maybe if you guys back and takes the kick, that you want to know it's an amazing game football like that, isn't it? Just the minute little moments, and seasons can swing on moments like that.
Yeah, they certainly can. We saw last year, and I guess the last couple of years really, just how congested particularly the middle section of the TSL competition can be. We've often had one or two teams right out in front and a couple of teams at the bottom, and just that middle section battling for the final spots in finals football has been really hard to come by. And these two teams here, obviously Glenorchy looking to bounce back in, I guess this is now the official beginning of the post-Bowden era for the Glenorchy Football Club, the first game without Jay Bowden. And there's been a real shift with this football club in recent seasons, but particularly now with the likes of Reece Mott, Cameron Duffy and a couple of others heading away from the club, and I guess it just gives an opportunity to some young Glenorchy players to really show their wares as well.
Yeah, with I suppose departures comes opportunities, and it'll be up to the youngsters to step into those roles and make them their own. There's plenty of spots up for grabs in this team that they'll be looking to nail down. Glenorchy, they'll be looking for a stronger year this year despite being a young side. Wooden spooners last year, not something Glenorchy Football Club like to associate themselves with generally. They probably prefer to be up the other end of the ladder. Might be a bit tough on that this year, I think. Very much a rebuilding season for them, you'd imagine, looking at the list. But looking forward to seeing what they can do today against a Clarence team who finished 4th last year, but a lot of their key movers with the Devils program and not in action today, Anthony.
Yeah, absolutely. You look at the 4 outs for Clarence today: Ollie Davis, Baker Smith, Darcy Gardner and Noah Holmes, four of the state's most talented players, and that's why they're in the Devils program. Coming in, Tyson Hanslow, Tom McCallum, Oscar Paprotny and Lockie Borsboom, so some players there who have had a bit of TSL experience behind them for the most part, so looking forward to seeing how they go today. But yeah, certainly, I mean, Ollie Davis we've seen last year just really leading all comers when it came to his bullish work in the middle of the ground, so it's definitely going to leave a hole. But really looking forward to seeing in the flesh these some of the Clarence recruits this season. Colin Garland touched on before with that play-on decision last week, but we all know what he is capable of. And I guess guys like a couple of players from North Hobart, Jake Steele springs to mind, and then Baxter Norton returning back to Tasmania and opting to go to Clarence instead of his former home of North Hobart. So they're the sort of players that can really help Clarence take that next step in 2021. But as you said, with a couple of those young Devils players out, it's going to be a challenge for them.
Yeah, no doubt. And obviously, Josh Green kicking 4 goals last week will be looming large in the forward line. Should relish conditions like these, I'd have thought. Very much a day for the small forwards. Someone like Luke Swinton might be a real threat up there also. For Clarence, maybe not such a day for the big tools out there. They're going to have their work cut out for them in the slippery conditions. We'll wait and see how it impacts the play. It's been kind of on and off all throughout the morning. Overly heavy, but you've got to think it's going to have a fair impact on proceedings here because it only seems to be getting worse.
Absolutely. You know, you can just see the players starting to gather. It's a sad week for the Glenorchy Football Club, the passing of Peter Quinn, a person who's been heavily involved with the Magpies since the 1970s, and I saw a couple of current and former Glenorchy players just expressing their tributes to Peter over the last couple of days on social media. I saw Aidan Grace, who's now in South Australia, just saying that Peter was essentially the backbone of the Glenorchy Football Club. So Glenorchy, not that they would ever need an extra bit of motivation playing against Clarence, but I'm sure they'll have the memory of Peter Quinn in mind today. As you can see, all of the people in the stands and the Development League players there as well, just taking a moment to remember Peter Quinn. Really nice touch there from everyone involved at the ground, and yeah, obviously goes to show the people like Peter are really at the heart of what football is all about in football clubs. So condolences to everyone involved with the Glenorchy Football Club and Peter's family as well.
Yeah, so often those people behind the scenes, they get missed, I guess, in the media coverage, etc. of it. They focus on the players, but the players wouldn't have a product to play in if it wasn't for those sorts of people behind the scenes, putting in the hours of volunteer work every week. We are truly thankful, of course, to everyone who fills those sorts of roles at football clubs. The lifeblood of our game, really.
Certainly are, and you look here, the Glenorchy players just starting to get in position, and as you said, they'll be really itching to get into it after having the bye last weekend. I'm certainly looking forward to it, and I guess what better opportunity for them than to come up against the arch rival in Clarence at home. This is a really big test for this young Glenorchy side. So umpire Sam Bridges with the ball in hand. His birthday today, actually, Sam Bridges, so hopefully he goes well. I think he's probably happy that he can just throw the ball up today instead of bouncing it, Andrew. It's probably not conditions for bouncing the football.
Well, if you're looking for my opinion on that, that's what they should be doing every time they go to the middle. But we'll digress on that one and get ready for the opening throw-up of this one. Should be a cracking contest at KG5. It's Glenorchy and Clarence are underway, the latest chapter in this great rivalry in Tasmanian football. And either team get an early clearance. People struggling for footing early on as this one's bang forward. Not much purchase on it though, and the Magpies should be able to take away. A bit of a hack kick towards the wing. Might work out if can just gather this one cleanly.
Jeremy Webley feeds the ball back to Borsboom. Further back to Buchner. Just drives the ball down the wing. Nicely sat there for Karen Howlett. So he just wheels around, Oliver Preshaw, I should say. Drives the ball inside 50. Harrison Gunther almost takes the mark, spills it. Handball over the top. Josh Green, a foot race, kicks it through. The easiest goal you're going to find for Josh Green, and he hits the scoreboard within the first minute and a half at KJ5.
Yeah, won't get many easier than that. Josh Green, the ball sitting up there and just stroking it through with the left into the gaping goal. All too easy there. Numbers out the back. They just worked it forward. Once the ball hit the deck in the forward line, players like Green are going to be so dangerous, so important today. And Clarence with an early strike here they'll be happy with. Didn't have to work too hard for that one. Just bang it long, took an accommodating bounce, and the Magpies defence want to make themselves just a little bit harder to score against today, I think. But an ideal start. There's a bit of wind about here too at KG5, which is probably just favouring the Clarence end, swirling around a fair bit as this one's taken out of there by Meredith, and Geared picks it up, goes back looking for White. He's gang tackled. A couple of strong tackles laid there. And you mentioned Clarence will be looking for a lift in the pressure game. Well, there's some good early intent there, Anthony.
Certainly would be. It's exactly what Jeremy Early would want to see, and some pleasantries being exchanged between a couple of players. Wade Wald tried to take it out of the ruck. Jackson at ground level for the Roos as well. Lockie Borsboom getting his hands on the football early. Just hacks the ball inside 50. Jake Steele was the target. Umpires found a free kick. It's going to go the way of Steele, so he had a player running around, but he's just going to stop and assess his options as he sets the ball up to a dangerous position. Josh Green was at the back, Colin Garland at the front, Harry Gunther in the middle as the Magpies get away. Yeah,
just dropping back into the space. And nicely there was Gunther as a long searching kick is out in front of Callan Day here. He's given chase. Beerley in pursuit. Can he keep it in? He's just fumbled it, still stayed in. And then Webley jumps on top of it, is appealing for a free kick there. I don't think he's going to get that one down there. But just wouldn't quite sit for Callan Daly there. He finally saw it set up for him and he immediately fumbled it because the ball is going to be pretty slippery to grasp out there this afternoon as the Rucks prepare to do battle once more here. Tossed in at the feet of big Wade Wald. Just works the handball straight to the opposition though. A little sloppy that. The Magpies a chance to go inside 50 for the first time today. Didn't really get much distance on the kick though. The wind taking a hold of it. Now charging off half back is Harper. His handball just a little bit too hot. Picked up by Nicholson for the Magpies. Sends them inside 50. The mark dropped and Webley is back there to hammer it away for the Roos. He finds the target too, showing some class and experience there, Jeremy Webley. Two things we very much associate with him as this one's taken out by Jacob Steele for a throw-in.
Really looking forward to seeing the return of Glenorchy stalwart Braden Webb today, but unfortunately a late withdrawal. So Riley Oakley has taken his spot in the lineup. So Unfortunately, another delay to the much awaited and anticipated return of Braden Webb. So that also will mean the younger Glenorchy midfield will have an even bigger role ahead of them as Wall tries to win it down. John Geard just kicks it really in the direction of no one. The umpire has a decision to make, decides it will be a throw-in just in front of the broadcast position at KG5. So some typical wet weather footy early doors here. Both sides just feeding their way into the contest as Wall, nice tap down, ball's boom at the back of the pack, kicks the ball towards the middle of the ground. Plenty of players converting from both sides. Brady Simpson was first in for Glenorchy as the Magpies drive the ball down the field. Cameron Goodsell there for the Magpies. Nicely done, over the top, finds Adam Roberts. Player with a couple of seasons of TSL experience, doesn't quite hit his target there as Jared Harper mops up across half-back for the Roos. They've got a couple of runners. Jeremy Webberley now, almost running the Paul Kennedy haircut at the moment is Jeremy Webberley. Dishes the handball out wide to a younger teammate. Just feeding their way down the line here are the Roos. Ball's boom, under pressure as he kicked the ball. Looking for Wade Wall. Run over the line by the Magpies for another throw-in.
We're seeing early doors here. Both teams looking to just go control the game with short kicks. A tough day to be kicking long into this wind and keep that direction. I think both teams looking to counter that by just going with these low little stab passes early. Rule changes obviously do make that a little bit easier than in previous seasons as Wade Wall won that one down nicely to Baxter Norton who took it away. Thumped forward by Jackson, a searching ball defended down there by Gunther, been involved early down back. The sweeping handball out in the direction of Webster. Some time off half back to compose. He swings it out in the direction of the wing. It was too far out ahead of his teammate there and just rolling over the line. And there'll be a throw in at half forward for the Magpies. The Clarence Roos with the only goal of this game. It was Josh Green soccering off the ground from the goal square in the opening couple of minutes. This one's tossed back in. Ooh, that lingered a little too long, the tackle for mine, but gets away with it. Jackson trying to manufacture a kick and just about did. Picked up some quick hands with Sharp there from Howlett, and the Roos charging forward here, gathered by Harper. He'll send them inside 50. That's an ugly looking kick too though. And it went straight there to Zachary Webster. Didn't kill the ball, stays in. Still some danger about Webster. Out on the floor on this occasion, so a little touch on it, but a little bit scrappy here at the moment, Anthony.
Absolutely, you can even see there a guy like Zach Webster, who's one of the silkiest players in the comp, under pressure in the wet. It's always going to be tough, and fascinating seeing Webster, Garland and Green all in the same area of the ground, all with AFL list experience. Of course, Garland and Green with plenty of AFL football under their hats, and Jeremy Webberley at the other end as well. So plenty of former AFL talent out there today. The ball's won down by in the favour of Gunther, unable to quite complete the ball as a strong tackle is laid in the end, wrapping up the Clarence player in Jack Preshaw. Had plenty of the football last week, 22 touches. As Jake Steele decisively wins that one down. Roves his own football, wrapped up in a good tackle. The umpire will take it back once more. Nice work there from Luke Nicholson. So, Glenorchy defence certainly being tested early as Garland tries to win it back over the top. Roves his own football. Quick kick hurried forward here for the Clarence Roos. Glenorchy really under the pump and stopping a prop from the Clarence player. It was Jacques Barwick. Second game in Roos colours, out of bounds on the full.
Yeah, great name there, Jacques, but not such a great kick in the end there. Under pressure, off balance, and couldn't quite get the direction there. His first involvement for the day. Speaking of not great kicks, that's gone straight back to Jacques. So Barwick with a chance to make them pay. He'll just send it right back from whence it came. Onto the chest of Green, but punched away from him decisively. The Glenorchy defence under some significant pressure here early on. Conditions making delivery inside that 50 pretty tough, but the consistency of how often they're being forced into pretty important one-on-ones. It's been fairly consistent in the opening 10 minutes. Clarence doing the bulk of the attacking. Wins at our back here as Josh Green brings it off the deck. Got the handball across to Preshaw. He centres it there. Punched out of the defensive 50. Great attack on the ball, though. Coming through was Swenton. Oh, Luke Swenton nails it home. You'd think it's lovely sunny today. The way he attacked that one, picked it up and slotted it through the middle. No kicking issues there for the number 33. And the Roos get their second of the afternoon.
Just a touch of class from Swinton, wasn't he? Attacked the ball at great pace, shrugged the tackle. Magnificent finish. And as you said, just finding a ball a touch drier than everyone else at the moment, Luke Swinton. Really nice work. I think that might be, I'd say it's probably his first touch of the afternoon. And pretty good one to start with, Andrew.
Very clean hands. Everyone's been fumbling and struggling to pick it up. He says, what are you talking about, fellas? I'll just grab this one on the run. Smooth moving there from Swinton. And the Roos, well, they deserve that one. They've been dominant early in this first quarter and deserve to add to their lead. How will the Magpies respond? They win the centre clearance here. There's some good defensive pressure applied from Hanslow. Quick hands from Ryebelt. Good tackle from behind laid by Baxter Norton. That was strong. In turn, nicely done by Rundle. The tackling from both teams impressive in that passage of play. Long searching ball trying was Ryebelt. Picked up there by Preshaw. Oh, good tackle. That's surely holding the ball. Chris Howard. Play allowed to continue. Umpire feeling a little generous there. And there'll be a throw in on attacking 50 for the Magpies.
Yeah, first time we've seen Glenorchy really get the ball. Oh no, will be a free kick in the end. So going the way of Keegan Wiley. Very good user, typically out of defence. He's going to go for the short option. Nicely done to find Jack Preshaw, who's once again been finding plenty of the football early. Really impressive performance last week for Preshaw. He's told to play on. In the end, makes a bit of a meal of it. Clarence under a lot of pressure now. Baxter Norton, touch of class. Tries to get the ball past Callan Daly. Comedy of errors at the moment for the Roos, but they bring the ball down the wing. Nice pressure there from Sam Rundle. Smothers the ball out of bounds. It's just obviously assessing his options and taking his time, but probably taking a little bit too easy on that occasion.
There's been a slew of those fairly regulation turnovers just from the short kicks in this one. Conditions not easy for either team, but I'm not sure they're that bad that some of the kicks we've seen can be quite let off the hook, as this one's launched long. The Magpies with the numbers, and waiting back there was Geared. Crashing in hard was Tremaine for Clarence. He's immediately wrapped up. Like there'll be a ball up on the wing down here. So the intent good from both sides. The execution just slightly off in the opening 11 and a half minutes. Clarence Roos 2 goals to the good. Only 2 scoring shots in the game so far. Glenorchy have really gone inside 50. Is just escorted across the line there. Was that man Tremaine. Glenorchy trying to win the ball at the contest, get it forward here. Trouble this Clarence defence, who haven't had a lot to do thus far.
So Steele and Howard to compete in this contest. One down by Howard, only as far as Norton. Plenty of the football early for him as Camrick teams up with his teammate, trying to drive the ball down the line for the Magpies. The target was there in Goodsell. Clarence with some reinforcements. Nice work there from Paprotny. Gets the handball back. Paprotny wins it back again. Goes further back. Glenorchy just pushing.
A howler of a decision out of him.
Yes, absolutely.
That's what it would have been.
Got it out of him, that's right. So Gunther driving the ball in on that occasion. You can just see here Steele almost going unopposed in the ruck here, and he opts to take the ball himself, immediately beset upon by his opponent. Jeremy Weberley just barges through and kicks the ball out of defence, only as far as the boundary line. Will be a throw in just outside Glenorchy's attacking 50, and Gunther, one of the leaders of this Glenorchy side, played VFL footy for North Melbourne last week and spent quite a bit of time on the highly touted Jamara Ugle-Hagan for Footscray, and I think he did a pretty good job from all reports heading out of that game.
He had been running pretty hot, Jamara, too. The Doggies fans clamouring for him to get into the seniors every week, but just building his fitness base. So it would have been a pretty good test. Not too many tougher tests in the VFL than Big Jamara, I would have thought. Very exciting player for the Doggies.
And interesting that Paul Kennedy's named Gunther at full forward this week after spending time in defence last weekend. He is versatile and can play either end, but I'm intrigued to see his role as the afternoon progresses. So Glenorchy just drive the ball inside 50, sitting in the hole, Jeremy Weberley. A fair bit of football early.
So we saw him bob up forward a moment ago, but it seems like he's parked back in defence at the moment, Gunther, and going to be required down there the way this one's developing so far.
Wiley gets the overlap runner. It's a scrappy kick inside the middle of the ground here. Jake Steele does well for a big man to bend over and pick the ball up. Harper, Green, unable to quite polish it off for the Clarence Roos as Geared combines through the middle of the ground. Strong tackle laid there by Jack Preshaw. Umpire's ball inside the middle of the ground.
Nicholson going absolutely nowhere there. Preshaw wrapping him up superbly. As once again, the Rucks go at it. A kick somehow manufactured from Geared. Got it inside 50, but the Roos again are able to take it away. Not being asked too many questions down there at the moment. Now some space on the wing. Can they drive this one forward? Eventually just a little handball over the top, but found Howlett. Howlett cut inside, dropped it off for Hanslow. He's run into some trouble, turned over here. Rundle fighting for the Magpies, but some good work coming in from Ballsman. Fights for the draw there for Clarence just about, and that'll hold things up. A good result before the Magpies could spring back the other way. Such a key to how teams score in the modern game is that counter-attack and scoring off turnovers. Such an important way of getting in behind those zone defences. There's some nice defence there from Bouchner. Really good stuff there. Just delicate with the foot whilst he held off with the body. Long ball from Ballsborn out in the direction of Tremaine. Tremaine quickly hands it inside. Webley's come charging off half back. He ran into trouble immediately though. Back to Ballsborn. Plenty of time to think their way through it. Retreats once more to Webley. Webley assesses his options, then drives it forward into the pocket. Couldn't quite get the purchase on it, and once again, just bouncing off half-back is Webster, but he ran out of real estate on that occasion.
It's a big test for the Glenorchy defence. They've held up fairly well so far, but Clarence certainly dominating the inside 50s early in this encounter. 16 gone and just the 2 scoring shots so far, both going the way of the Roos. Goals to Josh Green and Luke Swinton. The umpire throws the ball back into play. Decisively one down there for Clarence, but only as far as Tom Cleary, fullback for Glenorchy. Kicks the ball out into the other pocket. Just had a bit of a task. It does well, it does the Magpie player. Kicks the ball up the line. Now, what can Glenorchy produce here? They're just assessing the options ahead. Opts to go back to Zach Webster, one of the better users in this Glenorchy outfit. Tries to get the ball through the middle of the ground, only as far as Norton. He spilled his initial mark, but does well to mop up. Dodges one, dodges another as he drives the ball inside 50. Gunther has the kick. In the end, unable to complete the mark. Out wide to Wyatt, who's got a bit of a task here. Jackson, almost lays the tackle. Does well there, does Wyatt. Dishes it back to Gunther, gets it again. Kicks the ball down the line. Finds Callan Daly backwards of centre wing.
Well, the big fella there, White, it was like big one in Game of Thrones there. They were all hanging off him. They couldn't bring him down. He just had the size. Jackson, a pretty good tackler.
Absolutely.
And just zilch. Absolutely zilch. He did to him there. Shrugged him off.
Yeah, Jackson's an absolute bull for Clarence. And if you're shrugging him off, you're doing a pretty good job.
Darren White, what is this? Get off me. Minor annoyance to him. So he just strode out and helped repel. And the Magpies at half forward now. Can they make something happen in their attacking half? They've whacked some creativity down here early doors. Clarence defence handling them fairly comfortably. Wade Ball winning it down. Jackson burrow in there was Rundle. And looking for the free kick was Daly, but Clarence will take it away. It's all very congested in there. There'll be a ball up as they get to Jackson, who's been just on the bottom of packs in the opening 20 minutes of this one. No surprises there. And throw in and half forward again. Meteridge has been tough to gain in this one. And some sloppy disposal, but both teams plenty of bodies around the ruck contest. As Wade Wall won that one down, it was worked forward then by Preshaw. Magpies with the numbers in the air. It comes down, just whacked forward. A free kick's been spotted though. It's going to go the way of Glenorchy. They drive inside 50 here. Interesting to see how much of an impact the wind is having on this one, as this one's chipped short from Cleary. So you would fancy Clarence are probably attacking the slightly easier end in this first half. But always tough to judge these sort of games till both teams have had a quarter with the wind at their backs. This one just flies out behind to Weberly, but a free kick's been plucked. An opportunity from long range. Didn't look overly confident, so I wanted to potentially handball that one off. So I think given the lack of opportunities, they might as well just fire the shot from long range here. Going to be pretty tough. We'll get a good judge of the wind on this set shot from about 50 out. driving it. Distance was all right, but the accuracy offline. First score of the day for the Glenorchy Magpies. They're trailing this one straight behind. Clarence 2 straight goals, 12, and taking off immediately is Wiley.
So bring the ball back in. Wiley finds Lockie Borsboom. Plenty of the football early for Borsboom. Handball, kick over the top, I should say, to Hanslow. Just assessing his options at half-back here is Hanslow. Just to go further back once again, puts Jeremy Webley under immediate pressure. Callan Daly roves the loose football, shot on goal. Easy as you like for Callan Daly. You don't want to give him an inch inside attacking 50. And on that occasion, he had metres of space and made no mistake.
Kicking backwards to a 50-50 didn't seem like the greatest strategy. I think we've seen that one there. If you're going to take that kick back into defence, just make sure it's a really, really safe one. Otherwise, what is the point?
Absolutely.
And made to pay there. So a bit of a gift, that one, but the Magpies will take it. They needed something to spark their afternoon, and Callan Daly gets the goal.
He's such a classy finisher, is Callan Daly. He's the sort of player that just makes opposition defences very, very nervous. Made no mistake on that occasion. So that's exactly what Glenorchy needed. Clarence have dominated this quarter, played almost 21 minutes, and they've only got a 5-point lead to show for it, do the Roos.
I think the home side would certainly be the happier as it stands, and a chance here for Cameron to really make them hurt as he drove that one inside 50. And it'll be taken again here, the handball release, but Clarence good. Oh, classy stuff that from Hanslow. Real silk. He looks to combine with Wade Wall again here. Instead, he goes to the outside. An opportunity here, running in on goal. It's going to be Barwick.
It is.
He's drilled it. So 3 straight for Clarence. When they are shooting, they're taking their chances. And Jacques Barwick puts through goal number 3 for the Roos.
Yeah, excellent finish from Barwick. Nice work. I like that kick from Wade Wall. Out wide, opening up the angle, back inside, and Barwick made no mistake. Classy finish, and both he and Luke Swinton have really made the most of those opportunities. Now sees Clarence probably getting, I guess, closer to the buffer that they probably deserved in terms of general play heading into the first break.
Great dash off half-back there. Really good counter-attacking goal that.
And Hanslow through the middle as well.
Hanslow with the spin, and the good hands. Wade Ball, as you mentioned, with a good decision. And the Magpies will look to respond. They won the last clearance, couldn't find a target. This time they do. It's a lovely piece of delivery right onto the chest of Cameron Goodsall. So the youngster here with an opportunity to respond in kind. This game just opening up a little in the last few minutes, Oz.
Absolutely. Nice work out for Glenorchy out of the last couple of centre clearances as well.
So can Goodsall get the immediate response for the Magpies? He lets fly from 40 out. It looks pretty good. It is. Cameron Goodsall gets his first of the afternoon. Glenorchy 2-1-13. Clarence 3 straight 18. And a good response from the home side. And just for the last few minutes, it's not looked like the wet weather game that we saw in the first 15. Perhaps the skill's starting to look just a little bit sharper.
Absolutely. Ben Camerick twice in a row out of the middle of the ground, finding a bit of space, and eventually found Cameron Goodsall. Beautifully. Nice presentation from him as well. We've seen him, I guess, the majority of his TSL career to date, mostly being in defence, but nice to see him bob up and hit the scoreboard as well. And that's what Glenorchy need to do. They need to find new avenues to goal with the departure of Jay Bowden this season. Nice work from the Pies. Back in the middle of the ground, Wall wins it down to Jackson. Camerick floating about there again for the Magpies. Cops Jared Harper perhaps touch high. The umpire disagreed. Glenorchy hurry the ball inside 50. Nice work at the back there for the Roos. Jackson's the target here on the broadcast wing. Dinky ball down the line, still presented, unable to complete the mark, under pressure from Wire to, I thought he did take Harper high. Umpire Bridges agrees as Harper back into the middle of the ground. A risky kick, but it pays off as Norton almost tackled there by Gunther. Found his teammate out wide in Borsboom. He kicks the ball inside 50. Strong mark taken. Jacques Barwick. Really nice stuff. He's told to play on, and he kicks the ball into the pocket, unable to complete the transaction was Karen Howlett, but a bit of strength shown there by Jacques Barwick, who's looking dangerous forward of centre.
Yeah, liking Jacques' involvement in this forward 50 here. He's looking a handful. And he just step off his line there, call for play
I
on?
think so, yeah.
Thought surely it was the 15 metres, but couldn't quite combine in the pocket there as Clarence go looking for a fourth goal. Their players probably deserved in this first quarter. They've slightly better than Glenorchy. Green kicked the opener. Handball back. That's a great tackle on Ballsburn. Ripped him down, holding the football, and the Magpies will swing back the other way. It was Roberts who laid the tackle, but Clarence immediately recaptured the ball. The kick straight off the side of the boot invites all sorts of danger, though. Charging through here is Bester, and then crunching challenge laid there, but he got his kick away. Was searching for Jared Harper on the wing. Immediately he's besieged. Some good tackling pressure here from the Magpies as the ball's picked up by McCallum. The handball back. Found Goodsell, and Goodsell will drive it forward, but just runs out of room. Throw in half forward, 25 gone first quarter.
Yeah, Keegan Wiley kick. He couldn't have kicked it worse, really, on that occasion. Keegan Wiley, usually an excellent user, but put his teammate under so much pressure. So 25 and a half gone, 5 points the difference. I think the Magpies would be pretty pleased with where the game's at just at the moment. Meredith over the top, won the ball down in Camrick's direction. Harper's going to mop up here for the Roos. Opts to retreat further. Nice work there, getting the ball back to Buchner. In the opposing pocket, immediately under pressure, Luke Swinton dropped what he really should have taken. Has enough time to just gather himself. Kicks the ball down the line looking for Paprotny. He had geared for company. Just looked to be hobbling a little bit after that contest, but looks to be okay. So again, just a couple of basic skill errors potentially hurting the Roos there. Swinton had enough time to compose himself, but a nervous moment for the Roos right on the last line of defence. Meredith and Wall go to battle. Rundle's at the back of the pack. Wall just nice little work there, tapping the ball ahead of himself. Again, just some basic skill areas here as the wet footy starting to cause a bit of mischief for both outfits. And Wade Wall looks to be approaching this game with a fair bit of wisdom, I think, Andrew. A couple of times now just kicking the ball on, actually just embracing the wet weather and knowing that as a big man, I'm just going to kick the ball on the ground and try and find a man in space.
Get some meterage, always worthwhile. I thought he just got done in the back there, big Wade Wall, but no free kick was paid. Clarence will look to take it away through Baxter Norton. Swung it down the line in the direction of Preshaw, but well defended on that occasion by Meredith. But yeah, I think keep it simple on these sort of days. Just if it's sitting there on the deck, get it, blast it long. And I think we've seen a lot of errors in this game have been, if you're going to make an error, you'd rather do it trying to bite off too much, going too long. We're seeing on these cute little short dink kicks, and when you turn the ball over within a 5-10 metre vicinity, it's a lot more damaging than if you launch it down the line. So I think I understand the intent of both teams with these short kicks, but disposal efficiency, I think both coaches would be pretty furious with how both teams are going out so far this game.
Absolutely, and I think it's been a day with the weather this morning, rain on, rain off, so if hopefully things clear up a little bit this afternoon, we might see both sides settle in, but it's certainly something to watch as the afternoon progresses. Wall just takes up one himself out of the ruck, handball over the top, only as far as a Glenorchy player, dances around one opponent, kicks the ball down the line towards Webster. Out of bounds for another throw in.
Hey.
A few little pleasantries being exchanged.
Henslow and Rundle going at it there. Bit of argy-bargy. Not going to boil over into too much. Still just pushing and shoving from those two, and then they both fly at the ball. Neither of them able to get it there, and the Magpies will take it away. Webster's been impressive. Handballed that one backwards and then just blasted forward and took a bounce out of play. As we approach the quarter time siren, must be fairly imminent, I would have thought here. We've ticked past 28 and a half and been great periods of stoppages in this one, I wouldn't have thought. So a chance perhaps late for Glenorchy. Wade Ball's been pretty dominant in the ruck. Again, some slick hands from Webster. Been really impressed with him. Rundle centred forward. Well defended again by Ballsboom. Handball over the top, a pretty good one. McCallum charging out at it was Wiley. Rybelt immediately wrapped up. Oh, great tackle, that is that holding the ball. Umpire allowed it to go. Rybelt at the bottom of this pack. He's wrapped up by Swinton. And that could very easily have been holding the football.
Absolutely, a moment of relief there, I think. The umpire decided to keep the whistle away. One down there by Wall, straight to Josh Green. Spending a bit of time on the ball is Green. Kicks the ball as far as he can. Runner out the back Yeah, in Oliver Preshaw. Takes a bit of time on his left boot, just kicks it really into space. Never really in favour. I think that's the classic example of all the Clarence players pressing right up the ground. No one really to go home to. So in the end, just tried to buy a bit of space down the line. And all of a sudden, Clarence have the ball just outside attacking 50. Umpire Bevis to throw the ball in. It's going to be Meredith and Wall. A bit of a rotating cast of ruckman for Glenorchy so far today. Wall over the back. Approaching the ball well was Gunther, and as far as balls boom, he just kicks the ball inside 50. A real havoc ball now for the Glenorchy defence. Blowfield does well. Throws the ball on the boot. Has a player there, but Wade Wall reads the ball nicely. Taps the ball forward of himself to Ethan Jackson. Dishes a hand pass back as the Glenorchy players are immediately under pressure in defence. Jake Steele presented well. Took the mark on the chest. Just got a little bit of space ahead of Darren Wyatt. Took the mark on his chest late in this opening term.
Yeah, big opportunity here for Clarence. They've ticked past 30 minutes. It's not going to be an easy kick, though, with the wind in this pocket. But they've been razor sharp in front of goal so far today. Can that continue here for Jacob Steele, who's had a pretty good first quarter, I thought?
Yeah, presents well, Jake Steele, former North Hobart player. Lots of Devils experience as well. An exciting prospect for Tassie footy. In the end, didn't really get any purchase on that ball. Clarence is still in a chance here as Josh Green leads the pack, throws himself there looking for the free kick, unable to get it. Glenorchy just working their way out of this at the moment as Gunther quickly hurries the ball outside defensive 50, gets it to Howard. Camrick dances around Jackson, drives the ball down the wing. Now they've got a bit of room here. Roberts kicks the ball towards half forward. His target is really put under pressure by Jeremy Webberley, who does well, dances around another opponent in Meredith as Webberley brings the ball back into the middle of the ground. Finds his teammate in Borsboom. Out wide, it's going to get to Jared Harper, another leader of this side, as the siren sounds for quarter time. A bizarre couple of moments of football there to finish the first term here at KG5, and it's the Clarence Roos taking slender lead into the main break. They're 3 straight 18. Glenorchy 2-1-13. Andrew Cooling, what did you make of the opening quarter of football?
I reckon that last 15 seconds from Clarence was about the cleanest passage of play, the transition we've seen all quarter. I mean, it was a quarter really riddled with skill errors from both teams. Conditions making it pretty tough for both teams, to be fair. A bit wet. I think the wind's probably the bigger factor. It doesn't really seem to be favouring any end so much. It seems to be swirling around and just causing havoc with this field kicking of both teams. Neither team really been able to keep a hold of the ball. So perhaps on a day like this, you're better off just getting into the territory game, just trying to go long if possible and just trying to get field position. But I think Clarence will be the happier of the two teams on the balance of play. I think they've had more of it. But the Magpies, they worked their way back into it nicely after the first 10 minutes. They were really outplayed. They got back into it. They took a couple of chances. Clarence gifted them a goal, and really 5 points probably flatters them slightly, although I thought they worked back pretty well as the quarter developed.
Yeah, I think like you said earlier in the quarter, we're probably not going to get a true indication of the conditions until we see Glenorchy kicking towards the other end of the ground as well. But as you mentioned before, Clarence really took the most, made the most of their opportunities, I should say. Singles to Luke Swinton, Josh Green and Jacques Barwick. For Glenorchy, singles to Cameron Goodsall and also Callan Daly. So 5 points of difference here. Glenorchy with their first quarter of TSL football under the belt for season 2021. We'll take a short break and bring the second quarter action to you shortly. Welcome back to KG5, a sun-soaked KG5, it must be said, here for this big clash between Glenorchy and Clarence. It's the visitors with a 5-point lead at quarter time. Clarence 3 straight 18, leading the Magpies 2-1-13. And it's been a real classic Hobart day weather-wise. We've had showers all morning. Started to really get quite dark overhead right before the opening bounce of the afternoon, and now the sun is shining. So we'll wait and see how long this lasts as we approach the remainder of this game. But conditions certainly look favourable for some clean football. We saw the conditions really dominating a lot of that opening term, whether it was the issues with the breeze or with the wet weather football. So we'll see which side adjusts to the changing conditions in this second term. Andrew Cooling.
Yeah, hopefully a little bit cleaner in this second quarter. It was certainly a good physical contest in that first quarter, but the skill was just a little bit lacking at times. We know both teams capable of much better. There's some wonderful talent out there, and we'll see them resume battle here as the ruckmen go up once again. It fell to Jackson, who works it forward. Didn't get much purchase on the kick, it must be said, and now the Magpies will look to bounce off half-back. Simpson sends it long towards half-forward. Just tapped on further afield from Goodsell. I think that type of move could be a good one on a day like today. The old knock-on, underutilised, I think, in the footy at times. People, I suppose coaches are preaching grab the ball, get a proper possession, but when it's congestion, you don't have time for that. Just knock it down the field 10 metres. A big fan of that move. Absolutely.
We've seen a real staple of the Richmond brand the last couple of seasons.
Ball in motion, just keep it moving. It's so much harder to defend.
Absolutely. Daylight today, especially. Wall looks to win his own tap. Meredith chases him over the line, and we'll have rinse and repeat stoppage to start this second quarter. So Ethan Jackson floating around this stoppage. Had a monster game last week. 35 disposals, and thanks to Premier Data, 145 Premier Data points.
Not bad.
Big outing for Ethan Jackson as he wins this ball himself. Dodges a couple, gets it over the top to Preshaw, another player who was busy last week. Good start to this game as well. Kick down the line, doesn't hit a target. Glenorchy hurry the ball forward once again. Just a real scrappy start to this term as Preshaw dishes the ball back. Finds his teammate there in Beerley. Kicks the ball towards the middle of the ground. Green just stuck at the back of the pack as Webster and Harper collide in the middle of the ground. Harper's handball puts Norton under a bit of pressure, does well. Ballsboom under pressure as well as Webley tries to get the ball. Zach Webster slips in the middle of the ground. He's beset upon by Lockie Ballsboom. Just gets the ball out to Zach Webster. See a few players losing their footing. Rain earlier today as Webley gets the ball out to Josh Green. Handball's back to Ballsboom. High up and under kick towards half forward. The sit there, the Glenorchy player, just gets his fist to it, and Colin Garland and Harry Gunther, two heavyweights of the comp, go head to head. Snap on goal from the Clarence player. Lovely finish. Excellent work from Oliver Preshaw. Garland just kept the ball in motion, and really sharp work around goal from Oliver Preshaw. Gets Clarence the perfect start to the second term.
Yeah, just not the best defensive work there from Gunther. Been really good in this game, but needed to knock that one to the outside. He knocked it back into the dangerous area. It just favoured beautifully the Clarence forward. They just went straight to him. Preshaw set up perfectly for him. But just needed to knock that one the other side of the contest. Knocked it back too centrally, and far too easy in the end for Ollie Preshaw. Just get the ball down there quickly and see what can happen. Bit of a chaos ball, get the ball tumbling down there on a day like this. Seems to be both sides' best avenues to finding a goal, as that one was handballed back to Geared under pressure. Did pretty well given the situation. Coming through was Camerick, had a great first quarter and showed some real good composure there, Camerick, through heavy traffic. Found his target in Roberts at half forward. He turns, wheels and sends it deep forward. It's a dangerous looking kick, and charging out to meet it was Meredith, or Goodsell, sorry. Cameron Goodsell, who's presented up nicely today. And well done to Camerick in the middle there. So clean. So, can Cameron Goodsell convert here for the Magpies? He drives this one. Is it marked on the line back there? No, not paid. It's going to be a kick in. The question being asked. Well, now the umpire's decided, yes, it was a mark. Well, there we go. A late reversal there and just bringing it down. An opportunity here for Howard. So Chris Howard from the impossible angle after a bit of a discussion between goal umpire and the umpire, and he cuts inside, goes with the banana, and just got it horribly wrong.
Out of bounds on the full, but yeah, good awareness, and I'd already marked that down as being a behind. In the end, the opportunity was there for Howard, unable to quite make the most of it. So bringing the ball back into play is Wiley for the Roos. Gets the ball there to Jeremy Webley. Plenty of the football in the opening term, did Webley. Takes his time, assesses his options, and just launches the ball out of defence. The target down there was Paprotny, unable to take the mark. Harper combines with Preshaw. The umpire says play on as Preshaw drives the ball down the wing. Josh Green and Zach Webster, a fascinating duel, those two this afternoon. Webster's hurried kick out of bounds on the full. That's a great matchup for TSL football, Webster and Green. So Jake Steele with the duties to bring the ball back into play. Just sets the ball up right on the edge of 50. In the end, lands in the middle of nobody as Gunther brings the ball out of defence, finds Roberts. Dinky kick from Roberts into the middle of the ground. Mark taken there by Rybelt. Again, just inching forward here are the Magpies. Camerick the target. Jake Steele almost cut it off. Nice work there from the big man, Wyatt. Kicks the ball inside 50 to Darren Wyatt. Jeremy Webley is the best set player for that football. The ball rolls out of bounds, and again, a touch of class from Wyatt. Big man.
Yeah, tough, pretty daunting there as you look at Baxter Norton. He's a contested beast. He's a very good tackler. Just brushed off him. That big fella just charging in full flight. Take a fair bit to bring him down. There's the throw in inside 50 here. Big Wade Wall gets to the front, knocked it down. Unable to stay in for Jared Harper. He led all comers to the ball, and we'll have another throw in here. Clarence by 10 points, early days in the second quarter. Bit of an arm wrestle this one. It's been a tough game. Wall won it down. Forward from Norton. Scrappy up and under, and then charging down the outside was Harper. Just launched the kick, but lacking direction. And out of bounds on the full. Free kick will go the way of Harry Gunther. That one error on the prior Clarence goal, but outside of that has been pretty good down back for the Magpies. He's been a busy man, especially in that first quarter. The only one really going for that one in the end was the big number 5 Wyatt. Fell in his lap, handballed it off, and they drive it deep forward. Again, the execution lacking, the wind really wreaking havoc on these players' ability to hit targets by a foot. Good tackle that one. Callan Daly wrapping up Beerley. And there'll be a ball up, 60 out from goal.
A scrappy start to this term, but I like that effort there from Callan Daly, wrapping Beerley up. Exactly what Paul Kennedy would be after. Wall wins that ball down, looking for Preshaw. Unable to complete the transaction as Rundle emerges with the football. Gets it back to Meredith, to Oakley, late inclusion today. Finds Camerick, who just loses his feet. Is taken out of bounds by Preshaw. And not refusing to let go here is Jack Preshaw. Plenty of players coming in for reinforcements, and it's going to be a free kick going the way of the Roos. And yeah, just a bit of ill discipline there from Ben Camerick. Paul Kennedy would not be happy seeing the replay of that one. They look to move the ball quickly, but it will be taken back, and just picked the legs up, did Preshaw, and refused to let go. Umpire really didn't have a choice. Had to be a free kick.
Yeah, that hasn't led to any injuries there. It was looking like good developing to something a bit nasty there for a moment. Well done by the umpire. Spotted the free kick, got things moving quickly, and again, just an unforced error, if you will. Just a kick across the face of goal. Teammate all on his own, missed target, out of play for a throw in. And look, the wind is certainly a large factor out there, but teams, I think, are going to have to, if they can't hit these short targets, they're just going to start going long. So again, fighting all sorts of danger. These short little kicks, they keep turning over. As this one is again won by Wade Wall. Flying in was Roberts. Can anyone get clean possession of the football? There'll be a ball up, I would have thought, as Callan Daly just sitting on top there of his man, and just taking a little while to get off of him too, which was duly noted as once again Wall and Meredith do battle. Wall with the size advantage, and he's winning more of the contests. This one just taken by the wind and starts drifting backwards. Out after it was Rybelt. Has a little bit of time to assess the options, weaves and then turns back into trouble, turns boundarywood. Sent the kick forward, Weberly almost lackadaisically with one arm, would have been an amazing mark. Strong tackle there. Glenorchy somehow come out with the football though, but immediately running into a wall of red bodies. And eventually we're going to have a ball up. Well, I've questioned the kicking skills, but you cannot question the intent of both these sides, Anthony Osborne.
Certainly not. You can see there Adam Roberts just taking his time to get up, and he's been one of those players consistently throwing himself in at everything. He's a really tough young player as Adam Roberts, and throwing himself right in the thick of it on that occasion. Jackson, a bit of work to do here at half-back, does well to get the handball. Bit of strength there from Jackson as the Roos move the ball through the middle of KG5. A promising attack towards the attacking 50, and in the end, Josh Green caught at the back, and Zach Webster read it best. He drives the ball out of defence. Finds a teammate, Glenorchy. Had a good run here with the inside 50s. They look to do that again, but Clarence with the numbers as Swinton gets the ball, defensive side of the wing again. Darren Wyatt, who's just starting to impose himself on this contest, takes the mark, kicks the ball to middle of the ground, finds Rybelt, another player just starting to work his way into it as he kicks the ball towards half forward, and a strong mark taken. I think that might be Goodsall once again. Just starting to pose some questions here for the Roos as Goodsall drives the ball to attacking 50, top of the goal square, and an excellent mark taken by Jack Preshaw. Speaking of tough young players, that's an excellent mark. Almost undersized in that pack, and he did well to stand tall.
Outstanding from Preshaw. There's some bodies back there coming at him from behind. He just took the front position, showed great strength, and he had so. It's probably Glenorchy's smoothest passage of the game up to that point. That really moved the ball nicely in the build-up. Just missing his punch a bit there was Jacob Steele. He had a second chance to go down and get it to Garland, though. He tumbles one forward. Josh Green's escaped out the back. He's all on his own. He's got two. Both of them simple little out-the-back numbers. Josh Green with his second of the afternoon. And really, the arm wrestle had just been growing throughout the quarter, and Clarence just break it open. Something from nothing, really. And Josh Green was Green's paddock back there, and Webster was caught out of position.
Certainly was. Josh Green, he's been caught at the back of the pack a few times. On that occasion, it worked really well. Webster, just that zone defence, lost touch of the man. In the end, Clarence in really end-to-end football.
Yeah.
It was a nice transition, and some all started from that excellent mark from Jack Preshaw.
Well, there's the pros and cons for playing in front, playing behind the defender, aren't there? We've seen them with the last two attacks from Clarence. The first one, Webster takes the intercept mark. Green's cheating out the back. This one, the cheating out the back works. Suddenly he's got space, runs into an open goal. He's got two. So we'll have another ball up and another contest in the middle here. 12 minutes gone, first quarter. Clarence 16 points, largest lead of the game now. So they're just working their way on top, but goals have been proving pretty tough to come by for both teams. It's been a real physical grind of a battle. As this one swung forward again by Clarence. Unable to juggle the mark with Steele. Handball out to Jackson. Shrugged off one tackle, shrugged off two tackles. Then he sends the Roos deep inside 50. Almost a defensive mark taken back there by Big White. Unable to bring it down. Just shoves his man off the football though. Showing some strength there. Completely missing the handball though. Was Cleary, and now the handball back over the top, taken by Garland. Just about got a handball away. Also shrugging a tackle was Preshaw, the goal kicker. Coming through Green, sweeping handball over the top from Preshaw. Didn't quite get the requisite distance though. The tackling pressure's been good from Glenorchy, and they forced the stoppage.
Certainly has been. Excellent work there from the Magpies. And Colin Garland, don't think he's had a moment of space in this game. He's had either Darren Wyatt or Tom Cleary for company for most of the game so far. And the perfect example there of as soon as Garland was in the frame, put under immediate pressure as Sam Green tries to win the ball out of that contest. Ethan Jackson emerges with the football, as he so often does. Gang tackled there by two Glenorchy players. It's going to be a free kick to the Glenorchy Magpie and Chris Howard. Really well done by Howard. Kicks the ball down the line. Not his best work though, only as far as Oscar Popropny, who kicks the ball up to half forward. Josh Green unable to get into the contest, and a bit of bravery there from Nathan Blofield, who's been given the 50-metre penalty. So this is a big moment as Blofield brings the ball up 50 metres, and I think that 50 was probably there.
Just a lack of discipline,
Absolutely.
really. There's not a heap in it, but you just invite the danger, don't you?
Blowfield kicks the ball inside 50. A bit of space. Strong mark taken by Ben Camrick. Excellent work there from the Magpies, and Camrick will look to make the Roos pay.
Yeah, big chance here to make them pay for some ill discipline up the other end. Such a big penalty, that 50 metres, especially on a day like today where transitioning the ball that distance has proved very difficult for both sides, and now an opportunity for Camrick, who's had a pretty good afternoon.
Ball magnet Ben Camrick. Strong mark taken inside 50 as he begins his approach now. No such thing as an easy kick on a day like today. The ball's on the way for Camrick. Think that's a goal. It is. Ben Camrick hits the scoreboard. Magpies make Clarence pay, and they get their third goal of the afternoon.
Just doing enough to keep themselves within touch, aren't they, Glenorchy? A couple of times Clarence have started to get a little bit of separation on the scoreboard, but every time they've looked to do it, Glenorchy have pinned them back and just kept themselves in it. It's going to be tough to get a big lead today. Goals looking like they're pretty tough to come by, but Magpies doing just enough to keep this one interesting. As a badly needed goal, that one. Clarence was starting to firmly get on top of the contest, and Josh Green, who has bagged a couple for his side, just costing them one there with that 50.
Classy player, Ben Camrick. Made no mistake on that occasion. Sam Green in the ruck now for Clarence. Won the ball down. As far as the Glenorchy player, though, juggling attempt there from Beerley, unable to complete the mark. As Glenorchy bring the ball inside 50 once again. Howard, tucked up in the pocket, just bangs the ball on the boot to a dangerous position. In the end, Clarence with the numbers as they drive the ball out of defensive 50.
And Jackson gives the handball off. Driven straight down the line, dropping the mark, though, and sending it straight back to three Clarence players, just the one Magpie, and that's who it somehow found its way through to. That was Rundle. Sends it long, almost taken there by Camrick, and then the snap from the impossible angle is just off target from Daly. Well, almost something special twice there, but in the end, a non-completed mark and just the behind us.
Certainly two of Glenorchy's most exciting players, and we've seen Callan Daly kick goals from that position before. You always sense he's going to pull off the miraculous goal, Callan Daly. Doesn't on that occasion, but does cut the margin back to 10 points. Clarence just starting to find themselves on the back foot in this contest as they bring the ball up towards the wing. Colin Garland with a bit of space now, runs onto the loose football, just overruns it, does Colin Garland. Glenorchy with some numbers. Garland keeps himself involved. Nice work there from the Glenorchy player in Patterson, but it's going to be Clarence as they kick the ball inside 50. The target's there. Nice work in defence from Blowfield. Done a couple of nice things as Nathan Blowfield, the umpire, is always going to bring that ball back. Josh Green and Jeremy Weberley. It's a bit of experience between those two, and they thought they saw that contest a little differently, Andrew.
I think they thought he dove on the football, was their view. And the pure agony in Jeremy Weberley's eyes there was pretty funny to watch. But a stoppage in a dangerous part of the ground here, decisively won by Wall Fords, charging on through. That was Howlett trying to make something happen. Couldn't quite. And in the end, just the rush behind there. Dangerous player, Kieran Howlett. The class about him. This one's marked by Gunther. Looks up, doesn't see a lot in front of him he likes. And then just chips an ugly looking one that makes his man geared work a little bit. Handball back there. And eventually Oakley should be able to get them out of trouble, but it's not clean. It's a great tackle from Weberley. He wants the holding the ball. He gets it. He implored it from the umpire, and he gets the decision. Does Weberley? You might want to get that ball back to him quickly. Eventually they do. You want to give away a 50 when you're 60 from goal. That would have been overly generous. Weberley takes on the man on the mark. He lets fly from 55. Long range Weberley, and it's marked down there. That is a strong pair of hands. You see who it is getting up from the bottom of the pack there. Really strong stuff. I think Preshaw might be the one who's got it. Taking the pack mark, 15 out.
Absolutely, and Weberley just used his experience to bang the ball in. He saw the pack, and great mark taken.
I think this is Oliver Preshaw. Haven't seen any of these players before, so apologies if I got this one wrong, but he'll just try and stab this one low through the middle. He dissects the middle expertly. And Clarence kick out to a 17-point lead.
Excellent finish. A great mark taken, and Weberly just banged the ball in long. Really good work from Jeremy Weberly, and Glenorchy's defence was always going to be under pressure there. That's a nice finish, and exactly the response Clarence were after. Nice work there from Preshaw.
So 31 becomes 37. And Clarence kick away. We've seen Glenorchy being able to respond whenever Clarence have got the jump on them throughout them. Can they come up with the response here as this one is thrown up? Clarence have won the ruck battle here this afternoon. That tackle didn't slip a little bit high. No, the umpire says we'll throw it up instead.
Nice work there. Once again from Clarence. Sam Green just takes the ball out of the ruck, bangs the ball inside 50 to Green. Who's he got on offer? Right to the goal square. That just carried in the breeze, did the Sam Green kick. In the end, it goes through for a minor score. Clarence looking threatening the last couple of moments.
They are, as Webster will take the kick out here. His team just a little under siege at the moment as he saunters out. And oh dear, that's a horrible looking kick for Gunter. Well short of him. There's just no excuses really for mistakes like that. I know the weather's bad, but you can't blame the wind when you just kick it straight to the ground like that, Anth. And it's plagued this game at times, probably more so Glenorchy, as Clarence look to find another goal and really make them pay, but should be able to get it out of here. Camerick, probably been his side's best today. Weberly couldn't quite complete the mark there for the Roos. Jackson just buffeted it off the body. Weberly trying to scythe through once more. Eventually the handball from Geared got out the back, and the Magpies, Camerick will look to go forwards. The chest mark not quite completed, and it's a good tackle too late there by Bealey. He's going nowhere.
Yeah, really good work there from Bealey. Jackson in support as well. Callan Daly still just questioning the umpire. Thought he took the mark. It's a dangerous player, Callan Daly. So ball up, and so Sam Green extended period in the ruck now for Clarence. Run down decisively by Wyatt as Camerick tries to kick the ball inside 50, but shanks it off the side of the boot, out of bounds on the full. So Jeremy Weberly to bring the ball back into play, who pretty solid first quarter. I think his second term though, he's really stamped himself on this game, spending most of his time across half back, but saw before that booming kick inside 50 just provides so much experience as the coach of this Clarence side. He drives the ball out of defensive 50. A big pack forms. Preshaw was at the back for the Roos, but Glenorchy had the numbers as they kicked the ball inside 50 via Luke Nicholson. Flying there was Bealey, unable to take the mark. Ended up going with the fist as Glenorchy looked to bring the ball back from where it came. Driving the ball inside 50. Flying there was the Glenorchy player, unable to take the mark as Clarence just kick it back once again. It's to and froing at the moment between the centre of the ground and Glenorchy's attacking 50. But here's an opportunity for the Roos. Tremaine competing well. Nice tackle laid there by Hanslow. With a bit of space, Borsboom wrapped up in the tackle. Did he get rid of it? The umpire says he didn't. So Sam Rundle to be rewarded with a free kick at half-back for Glenorchy.
As the rain just starting to tumble down a little here and make things even tougher for the players. Here's Zach Webster down the line. They work their way patiently here as the rain really starts to drive late in the second quarter. It's the Roos holding sway by 3 goals as Josh Green almost able to sneak in and intercept that one. 2 goals today for the 4 Brisbane and Lion Bombers players. This one has just swung towards half forward. They'll let the big men fly. That's a really strong mark that's been taken there. Good stuff from Howard. And his kick a little up and under. Favours the Clarence players flying at it. They had the numbers. Comes down to Camerick. And Busy somehow got a handball out of there, but turned it over straight to Luke Swinton. Somehow a kick is hacked forward. Ball on the deck and just blasted on out of there. Not a heap of distance though. Blowfield back there in support, but well done Jackson. Battling against 2 players, and he's fought really well there, Ethan Jackson. Holds it up and he'll get a ball up. Outnumbered. That's great work from the Roos midfielder.
Yeah, outnumbered. Brought the stoppage and also gained about 20 metres while putting the pressure on. Excellent work from Ethan Jackson. The ruck here, Colin Garland competing for Clarence. Gunther there for Glenorchy. Numbers for the Magpies. There's a looping handball Drives Glenorchy to half forward, mopping up Oscar Poprotny for the Roos. Kicks the ball in the middle of the ground. This is a dangerous position now. It's going to be advantage. Ballsboom took the advantage and was immediately beset upon, but I think it's going to be brought back. Josh Green picks up the spinning football. So thought they may have potentially blown that opportunity there, the Roos, but the umpire said they can take it back.
Well, we don't have the umpire's whistles in our ear, which makes it a bit tough, but felt like the advantage had been paid there.
Certainly did, but Jack Tremaine now with an opportunity to set things up for Clarence. Just drives the ball in long. It's a bit of a floating football, a dangerous position for the Glenorchy defence. Wide under the pump, does well to combine with Blowfield. His kick straight up in the air, and Jackson, with metres of space, takes the mark on his chest. Stops and props to Ethan Jackson, has Garland on short. In the end, he's just going to bomb the ball in long to Ethan Jackson. It's a long kick from Jackson, always missing to the right-hand side for a minor score.
His teammates seemed confident that he had the distance because there weren't a lot of leads being offered to him there. He waited and waited, and no one really hit the space hard there for Ethan Jackson.
I think the advantage of that new man on the mark rule as well, you just get that extra bit of angle and drive onto your kick, and Jackson, distance was no worries in the end.
Yeah, it's really completely changed the ranges of nearly every player in the game. You can kind of add 5 or 10 metres to their goal-kicking range. Now that you don't have to go up and over the man on the mark, as this one's worked to half forward, but picked off there by Zach Buchner, who immediately sends it forward. A good kick. Clarence with some numbers down here. Jeremy Webley been highly influential when he handballs this one over the top. They'll launch it deep inside the 50 here. Garland there, but in the space defending it. Fell, snapped. How will it bounce? Oh, a miraculous bounce through for a goal. Utterly stitched up Nathan Blowfield. Clarence by 25. Well, you can talk about the luck of the bounce in football. There it is, coming up, and a remarkable goal for the Roos.
That was something else. Tyson Hanslow, I think it was, in the end. He just kicked the ball, and I don't think for the life of him thought that was ever going to be a goal. Just kicked it straight up in the air, and Blowfield absolutely stitched up, and in the end, Glenorchy unlucky that Oliver Preshaw didn't touch the ball as well.
Yeah, that was a wild one. As the driving rain continues to fall, and Clarence have skipped away to a pretty handy break now, 45-20. They've worked their way on top, and they're putting it on the scoreboard. And suddenly, it is the home side. A mini mountain facing them. They need to try and claw something back before the halftime break. If they'll concede another one, it's going to be very, very tough for them in the second stanza, as this one out in the direction of Weberley once more. Might have been being held onto a little bit there by Roberts. Play allowed to develop, and eventually Ballsboom just sends it down the wing. Clarence playing a little bit more direct this quarter. I think it's working for them as this goes looking in the direction of Garland, well away from him by Gunther. It's been a good battle, that one. 27 tick by. Clarence with a fairly handy break. Not long left in the first half, Anthony Osborne.
Glenorchy desperate to not concede another goal here. But you can see the rain really tumbling down at KG5. Proper wet weather footy. We saw the ground baked in sunshine. The sun was coming through at the start of this quarter, but certainly back to wet weather footy now as Wyatt wins it down to Rundle. Tries to find Daly, but in the end, Wade Wall just uses his height. Daly puts the pressure on, though. Will be out of bounds for a throw in. Wade Wall is certainly a mobile ruckman for Clarence. Provides them with plenty of work around the ground as well.
Very cleverly not actually taking possession there.
Yeah, just kept tapping it from one hand to the other.
Cunning. He said he was pulling out the high IQ plays earlier. Not known to be the thinking man's position, the ruck, is it?
Certainly not, but Wade Wall, he's played a number of positions across the journey, so maybe he's just learning from different positions, Wade Wall. Nice work from him. Glenorchy bring the ball up to the wing. Sam Rundle, former Launceston player, the leader of this Glenorchy on-ball brigade. Ships the ball down the line. Mark taken by Webster. Fascinating duel with Josh Green this afternoon as he kicks the ball right to the edge of 50. A great mark taken in the end by Adam Roberts, who's done some really nice things. He looks to just drive the ball towards the goal square for Glenorchy. Caught at the back of the pack, a couple of Glenorchy players. A dangerous spot. Kick off the ground, through for a minor score. I thought just for a moment there that a miracle might have been pulled off, and it looks like that was right on the siren as well. So that would have been a big moment, but alas, just a minor score. So that brings an end to the first half of football here at KG5, and it's all set up for an interesting second half, but really after Glenorchy owned some, I guess you can almost say the first third of that second quarter, Clarence flexed their muscle and have extended a handy buffer heading into the second half.
Yeah, got well on top as the quarter developed. Glenorchy was an improved showing earlier, but I think the wind was certainly favouring Clarence in that quarter and just allowed them to get a little bit more distance on their kicks. And they stopped messing about, I think, was the thing for me. We saw a lot less of the short kicks kind of off half back and from the wing, and they just started driving it long down the line. And it caused a little bit of chaos in the Glenorchy defence a couple of times that led to goals. They started to get some reward on the scoreboard. They've been the better team, the Roos. They've been good value for their lead, but you can have a look at those pictures there and see just how much the weather has changed from the opening moments to right now.
Absolutely, and you can see that there. Preshaw got things going in the second quarter for Clarence with that goal, and you can see here Colin Garland once again immediately under the pump on that occasion, but Josh Green found out the back. He kicks his second goal of the afternoon. He has 2 for the Roos. I saw Preshaw just a moment ago. He also has 2 for Clarence. Singles, Tyson Hanslow, Luke Swinton and Jacques Barwick. You can see there Ben Camerick. That was a big moment, capitalising on a 50-metre penalty to Nathan Blowfield, who found Camerick inside 50 and he made no mistake. Now, that occasion there, Glenorchy were really starting to press the Clarence Football Club and really putting the pressure on them. But this moment here, Jeremy Weberly dancing around his opponent and bombing the ball in long, and such a strong mark taken by Preshaw. Kicks that opening goal of the second quarter and made sure that he had 2 for the term. Nice finish from the pocket from Preshaw. His brother Jack's also been very good for Clarence so far today. And there, as you see, the rain tumbling down. And this is just a bizarre goal from Tyson Hanslow. Nathan Blowfield absolutely stitched up as the ball bounces over his head and through for a maximum.
Yeah, he just started sliding and there was nothing he could do at that point as it took a horrible bounce for him. But Clarence getting some reward for their effort as the quarter went on, and I don't think you can argue too much with their advantage at the break. Glenorchy with it all to do to turn things around here in their first game of the season. We'll be back around about 5 to 10 with the third quarter here from a wet KG5, where the hosts trail the Roos by 4 goals.
Welcome back to KG5. The second half about to get underway in this clash between Clarence and Glenorchy. It's going to be Sam Green and Josh Meredith to do battle in the middle of the ground to kick things off in this second half. 23-point lead in favour of the Roos heading into this second half. Andrew Cooling, what are you expecting to see as this game unfolds?
Well, I think Clarence have looked the stronger team throughout that first half. They'll look to just hold their lead here in this second and probably have the wind at their backs in the final term. So if they can get into a bit of a holding pattern in this quarter, they'll be quite happy. Glenorchy, I feel, will probably need to do a bit of the damage here in this term if there are any chance. They're going to need an early response as that one's tumbled off the ground down there. Howlett looking to pick it up for the Roos, but he's tackled there by Blowfield. So it's going to be important in the early moments here. The Magpies need a quick response. If Clarence kick the first couple, you'd sense that's probably curtains for them. So an important start to this final term as a spectacular effort flying over the top there was made by Goodsall. Couldn't quite complete the transaction though, as this one's launched deep inside 50. And that one will spill out for a throw-in. Callan Daly charging out after that one. So throw-in as the Magpies look for an early response here.
Sam Green again in the ruck for Clarence. Haven't seen Wade Wall for a little while, so I might need to monitor that as this second half goes on. Ethan Jackson and Ben Camrick head-to-head. Ball rolls out of bounds. Saw Green take the last 3 or 4 ruck contests in the first half, so interesting. Keep an eye on that one. Sam Green, a talented young player, spent most of his time in the Devils program as a defender. Certainly a versatile footballer as he wins that one down, only as far as a Glenorchy player in Oakley. As Clarence just drive the ball through the middle of the ground now. A bit of space opens up out the back. Who have they got now? The Roos. A strong mark taken. The second time we've seen that today from Preshaw, who just kicks up and under. Garland was probably the target, but Jake Steele was there. Josh Green and Colin Garland coming at ground level. Howlett dances around one. Caught holding the ball. Is he? The umpire has a decision to make, and it will go the way of Glenorchy. A nice tackle laid on Kieran Howlett by the Glenorchy player. Really nice work. Might be Simpson, I think, for the Pies. He drives the ball out of defensive 50. Oh, again, coming across Paprotny, unable to take the mark as Jack Preshaw kicks the ball inside 50. And Jake Steele with his second look at a mark for the quarter. Takes it on the second occasion. Has a runner there and unable to complete the transaction. Jake Steele and Luke Swinton. Can Glenorchy make them pay here as both sides just look to get a bit of composure to start this second half. Wrapped up in the tackle was the Glenorchy player in Luke Nicholson. Excellent tackle from Harper, one of the leaders of this Clarence side. So both teams probably just need to take a moment to take a breather and reset themselves here. As Harper's kick finds Baxter Norton out wide. Dinky kick towards half forward looks to find Jeremy Webberley, who does well to get his composure back and find Norton, whose kick finds Colin Garland, who immediately points to goal, and he's going to back himself in, is Colin Garland. Tight angle right on the edge of 50 as he wheels around now. Colin Garland towards goal. Jake Steele, Harry Gunther, who caught there at the top of the goal square. In the end, the tackle laid by Gunther. We'll have a ball up. Steele has been in the thick of everything to start this quarter, unable to complete the mark on that occasion. Garland quick to wheel around.
Gunther was just a little bit unlucky not to be paid a mark there moments ago, but he gets the kick away here, takes a tumbling bounce. Goodsall was there, he's presented up well at the ball today, the young Magpies forward. Play allowed to continue here, and it's picked up by Webster. Weaved one way, didn't like what he saw, so went back the other, and now the Magpies will try and carry it out via the opposite flank. A handball over the top to Nicholas Rybelt. He spies an option inside on his left. That's just where he heads, but it was well defended. He couldn't quite find Goodsall. And now Baxter Norton takes the Roos forward, but once again the ball turned over. Went straight to Blowfield. Blowfield has a man all on his own in space. That's just where he heads. Sends it wide, and then they'll drive it inside 50. Can they find a mark here? It's a dangerous ball. Good defence, though. Smashed it away from Daly. Bending down to grab that one was Oakley, but the numbers favouring Clarence at the fall of this one. Again, it'll be picked up there by Oakley. Continue to just try and work it forward. Did Swinton get in the back there? Play allowed to continue. The snap with the banana. That's beautiful stuff from Camerick. And the Magpies pull one back. They draw first blood in the third quarter. They move along to 4-3-27. Clarence 7-3-45. Still holding sway by 3 goals. But Camerick, he's been a real weapon for his side out there today. And he pulls one back early here.
I think you said midway through the opening term, Andrew, that surging the ball forward was potentially going to be the way to go for those sides. And it's a perfect example there, just keeping the ball in front of them with the Magpies, and Ben Camerick able to swoop on the football and kick his second of the afternoon. Nice finish from Camerick, and he's the sort of player that, give him half a chance inside 50, is going to make you pay.
And he duly did there. A couple of his field kicks have been a little bit off today, but he's won the ball fantastically, Camerick. His attack at the contest has been first rate all afternoon. He's keeping his side in the game here. A crucial goal there. As again, no Wade Wall. We suspect his day might be done with injuries. Ethan Jackson looks to take this one away for the Roos. He swings it towards half forward. Turning sharply was Howlett. Kept it nicely. Worked it back down there to Tremaine. Swings it to full forward. This might bounce for Josh Green. Taken away from him though by Patterson, and then bounced on out of there. He found a target on the wing. Oh, took a cruel bounce though for Roberts. Bombing up was Weberly, who always wanted the throw in, sensing the situation, and just gets that there. He's really got a real licence to attack off halfback, doesn't he, Weberly?
Certainly does, and he's been doing just that today. Really strong start to season 2021 from the coach, who injury-riddled couple of seasons a few years back, but just starting to have a nice run at it is Jeremy Weberly, and that's a good thing for Clarence, as Green combines there with Jack Preshaw, who's had plenty of the football this afternoon. His hurried kick goes up towards half forward. His brother, Oliver Preshaw, there as well, but the ball rolls out of bounds in the hands of Jack Tremaine. Throw in just on attacking 50 for the Clarence Roos. It's going to be Colin Garland competing in the ruck against Tom Cleary. Cleary probably just won that one down. Baxter Norton wrapped up in a strong tackle by Callan Daly. Roberts was there for the Roos, but Ethan Jackson now with a bit of space. More space than he first thought. Ethan Jackson shot on goal on the way. Just misses to the left-hand side. Ethan Jackson just found himself in a little pocket of space, and he almost looked around and was shocked at how much space he had. In the end, just missing to the left-hand side. Yeah,
pretty rare for anyone to have that sort of time and space in this match here today, let alone Jackson, one of the real gun players. As you mentioned, I think it was 135 ranking points for him last week. Speaking of which, when is our illustrious leader, Mr. Gill, going to get the TSL Supercoach competition going? I think that's something I'd like to see in the future.
It's what the people want.
It's what they're pining for. And just add that one to a Tasmanian AFL team of impossible dreams for him to try and achieve, as this one's worked forward onto the wing there, and there'll be a throw in, but it is great to have access to these Premier data statistics. It takes a lot of the guesswork out of things, and just been great the last couple of years having those numbers readily available, hasn't it?
I think there are a couple of journos in the state very happy to have some stats to look at when they're picking their Player of the Year votes, Andrew. No, there are some journos who are finding it a lot easier to submit their votes.
Some more accurate votes this year, you reckon?
I think so, last year as well. But we saw, and also it does stop the coaches saying that every player's had 35 touches every week as well. Seemingly, you have 3 or 4 midfielders racking up 35 to 40 disposals every single week. So there's a bit of accountability now for the coaches, the journos, the players, and everyone.
It's great to see. The Magpies, 19 points in arrears in this one and trying to find a way back into it. Webster has added plenty of dash and drive from half-back, but he got hauled down there before he could get the kick forwards. He's battled hard, Webster. Green's kicked too, but Fancy Webster's probably taken the points in that duel so far. Yeah,
Webster, such a classy user across half-back, and not big contested mark player, but quite a few intercept marks across half-back as well. That ball one down there. Protney was the player for Clarence, unable to take control. Jack Tremaine, I should say, as it rolls out of bounds for another throw in. So a little bit of this today. Just stop and start, particularly this side of the ground. The ball can just get stuck. Green competes for Clarence up against his Glenorchy opponent, Josh Meredith. Jackson there for Clarence. Once again, Rundle in pursuit. Jackson just thought he's lost his footing as Rundle looked to bring the ball back in. Jackson quick to get back up and about as he goes back to Baxter Norton. Kicks the ball high up and under towards the wing. It's going to be close. The umpire says touched over the line for a throw-in. Baxter Norton, it's just a big inclusion for Clarence this season. He had 18 touches last week and just that experience of playing in the VFL as well. It's going to hold him and the younger Clarence midfielders in really good stead.
Especially with the likes of Ollie Davis missing from the team today, to have that extra contested midfielder, gun midfielder in your lineups, particularly useful for mitigating that departure. So this one's launched long, extending high was Gunther, couldn't quite bring it down though. Potney in there for the Roos. Tremaine, the last one to see it over. They'll be thrown in. 10 minutes gone in the third quarter. So Clarence 19 points ahead. And Glenorchy with the only goal of this quarter. But it's a long way back for them. Probably going to be against the wind in the final term, depending on how that kind of swirls round, as this one's handballed to the outside for Camerick, who continues to keep fighting hard for his side. Webley up there and able to keep that one in play. Ball in at half forward. Glenorchy fighting their way back into it this quarter, Oz.
Yeah, absolutely. Nothing coming easy for Clarence so far in this second half. We did see Clarence just really wrestle control back midway through the second quarter, though. So big quarter ahead for Clarence as Meredith just climbs over the top of Green. Camerick wraps Green up in a really strong tackle and is rewarded straight away. Bit of cheeky play there, and the umpire's pinned him. So I think it was Preshaw just decided to give the loopy ball back to Ben Camerick, and the umpire says, "Nope, Benny Camerick, you're coming with me. Here's a 50-metre penalty."
None of those shenanigans, son, he says. Not having that. He thought he'd found the loophole by giving it, well, straight back to him with a 20-metre arc in the air. Umpire disagreed. So
Ben Camerick, he's already kicked one for the quarter, two for the day. Can he kick goal number 3? A stuttering approach for Ben Camerick. The ball's on the way. No mistake, Ben Camerick. Glenorchy make the Roos pay, and they have the only 2 goals of the second half so far.
Yeah, perhaps a little unfortunate, but look, it was cheeky. He did go the rather elevated loop back to him rather than straight back to him as the umpire would like. So perhaps a little bit harsh, but probably unnecessary. A couple of seconds he tried to buy. I mean, you don't mind your players holding the ball up here so that you can get your defence time to get back and get set. But look, that was a bit ridiculous, and he really invited the decision there, I think.
Absolutely, and Camerick, just to start things off with that tackle on Green, well deserved to get the free kick, and in the end was never going to make a mistake from that range. And Preshaw, he probably feels like he owes Clarence one now. He's got that ball out wide from the middle to Paprotny. Back to Paprotny, kicks the ball to half forward. Strong mark taken there. I think that might be Preshaw once again. Oliver Preshaw this time, taking a couple of really good contested marks. So he drives the ball inside 50. A big reach there from Jake Steele, unable to take the mark. Garland now competing at ground level. Preshaw there as well. Glenorchy player wrapped up in a strong tackle. That's Cooper Meredith. Plenty of bodies around this football. In the end, Glenorchy decided just to bang it out of the area. Paprotny dropped what he probably should have taken. Does well to pick it up again. But his kick inside 50. It's chopped off by the Glenorchy player. I think that might be Rybelt. So, frenetic couple of minutes here in this contest. 13 points the difference. John Geard marks the ball in the back pocket for the Magpies. Just looks at his options. Callan Daly's just come off the bench. I reckon Wyatt's going to be the target down the line, and that's where he goes. Clarence players with the set. No one really went for the mark in the end, and it's going to roll out of bounds for a throw-in directly in front of the Glenorchy interchange bench. So 13 points. The way Clarence have dominated most of this game, Glenorchy would be really thinking they're a red-hot chance as we approach the midway mark of this third quarter. Meredith wins that one down for Glenorchy. And as far as Ballsburn, hurried kick, chopped off by the Glenorchy player. Wyatt links up. Nice use of hands there from the Magpies. That handball just misses Callan Daly. He's going to look for the boundary line. That's where he goes for another throw in.
Cleverly disguised there from Daly. Just transfer it from the left hand to the right to get it across the line. Very slick stuff there. So 13 points to the deficit. They've kicked the only 2 goals of this third quarter as they try to make some inroads. And the Rucks have been guessing where the ball's going to end up from throw-ins for most of the afternoon, such is the wind factor in this one. battled hard, young Josh Meredith, for a 17-year-old in the ruck. He's given a good account of himself against some bigger bodies this afternoon. Oh, that's a great mark, taken down there, and a chance here for the Roos. He'll just chip this one, Will Tremaine. And once again, all on his own pre-shot. Just given far too much space. And he can go back and have a look and try and find the Roos first of the third quarter here. Spinning himself. Chances have been at a premium so far in this third term. Just retreating further. So how will the kick go? The teeth of the wind. And find the steadier for the Roos here. He drives it. Held up by dances a little, but he likes what he sees. It's a great goal, that one, from Preshaw. And Clarence kick away to a 19-point lead as they go to 8-4-52. And 5-4-34 the Magpies trailing. A big goal, that one. Not the easiest kick either, Anthony.
No, certainly we've seen today the conditions wreak a bit of havoc, and lovely finish from Oliver Preshaw. He's got 3 for the afternoon, and there's a lot to like about him. He's competed really well for his size and a lot of big contests as well. That time had plenty of space, took the mark and made no mistake with the set shot. And again, seeing the benefits of the men on the mark rule, he just able to get himself a little bit of extra space and a bit of extra arc. And in the end, no mistake with the distance. And good to see Wade Wall out in the middle of the ground as well for Clarence. So that's a big storyline as we go towards the back end of this third quarter. Callan Daly wins the ball out of that contest, drives the ball long, and Ben Camrick takes the mark. Lovely work, forced to play on. Dinky ball into the pocket. Oh, just misses there the player he was going for. Spilled over the line for a throw in, and Camrick just starting to raise some serious questions for the Clarence defence.
Probably didn't need to play on there, though. To be fair, you might have seen something on out of shot. It's just being put to the deck there was Oakley. Play continues now, and roving and brought down in a strong tackle too. Some good defensive pressure there applied from Keegan Wiley. Goal-saving tackle, that one. There's 16.5 of tick by in the third quarter. Clarence finding their first goal of this third term moments ago. Just get a bit more breathing room. And the Magpies find something here. It's one down by Howard. Just overrunning it was Wiley, trying to find his way through Rundle, and then once again onto it was Camrick, who's wrapped up in a strong tackle from Josh Green. Applying some good defensive pressure there. It was Joseph, in fact, who was unable to escape from the Green tackle. As the Rucks nominated again. One down to Webley, who somehow screws a kick away, but it's gone straight to the big number 5, Darren White. This will test him, but he looks like he wants to go back and take the shot. Just a slung kick out of the pack really from Webley. Tough one to direct, and parked back there was the giant figure of White, who will look to claw it back to 13 points. Big moment in the game, this one. The Magpies need to take their chances. He wheels out to the right. He'll kick it from the centre square with White. And he just sacrificed the accuracy for that little bit of extra distance and threw for a behind.
Was confident from the get-go though. White put himself almost back to the centre circle to begin his approach, and had a fairly good fist of it in the end. Just going through for a minor score as Webley, plenty of space, drives the ball up to half back. Clarence players are there. Nice handball over the top from the Clarence player, and McCallum just dealt with there. It was the other Clarence player as Borsboom comes through for the Roos. He finds Wade Wall. Good to see him back out in the middle of the ground. Wrapped up in the tackle was Simpson from Glenorchy. Ethan Jackson now at the bottom of the pack. Did he bring that ball in? The umpire says no.
I think he might have was.
A lucky moment there for Ethan Jackson, I think. The Glenorchy players not disagreeing too much, but perhaps a touch lucky as Jackson, as Wall gets that one over the back, only as far as Daly. Hanslow just goes off his shin out of bounds for a throw-in. Ethan Jackson's been so impressive today. Bulldozing his way through middle of the ground and around these stoppages. As Howard wins that down to that man Jackson, who just kicks the ball hurriedly up towards the wing. Will roll out of bounds for another throw in. So just gaining another 20 metres or so there, the Roos. So Josh Green competing as a rover here for this contest. A fair bit of time around the ball so far in this, the Roos. They just drive the ball trying to gain some meterage, but again, just a roving scrum of players at the moment as Green does well to get the ball, but only goes as far as the Glenorchy player, as Howard does well for the big man. Gets the ball over the top. Glenorchy kicking the ball inside 50 via Adam Roberts at the back. Mark taken. Ben Camerick kicks the goal. He has 4, 3 for the quarter, and Glenorchy, they're not going to go away.
Just a little nudge, some good body work in the square there from Camerick, and he runs in behind to kick another one. He's been highly influential here, Ben Camerick, making it happen in the midfield and in the forward line. They've been a one-man army at times here this afternoon for the Magpies. He's keeping them in this contest. It's 12 points the difference. Every time Clarence have looked like they were going to just run away with it, they've been able to be pegged back. And some good football here, just good use of the body in the end. Swinton aggressively attacking the ball. He just got worked under it in the end, but did well not to go with the egregious push, just a little use of the body. He's having himself a game, Benny Camerick. I don't think the media folk you mentioned earlier will need to look too much further than him for their 3 votes from what I've seen so far. Obviously plenty of ball game left though. And his team are trailing in this one as Geared turns and takes it deep. Can they get 2 in a minute here, the Magpies? Almost landed in the hands of Beerley. And then a snap from Camerick. Has he got another one? He has! He is on fire, Ben Camerick. He pulls it back to within 6 points. This is the Ben Camerick show at KG5. And they're back within a kick, 2 in a minute. He is on fire, this man, Anthony Osborne.
Ben Camerick, one of the competition's most damaging midfielders, come on in leaps and bounds over the last 3 seasons or so. And now he's just making a name for himself as a marking forward. You can see he's gone back in the middle now, and he's a confidence player. And at the moment, 4 goals for the quarter, 5 for the game. That is huge for the Glenorchy Football Club, and you can just see him there. He's moving around. He's feeling pretty good about himself, Benny Camerick. See how Clarence respond.
So we had Easter Monday early in this week. Real shades of Dangerfield v Hawthorn that time. Just put your gun midfielder to full forward and watch him do the job. This has been incredible from Camerick here in this third quarter. He's kicked all 4 of his side's goals. They're back within 6 points. And there's a real lift too. You can see the playing group. It's flowing through them just right now.
Absolutely. We brought back here, the Roos. This is a big test now for Clarence. Glenorchy with all the momentum. The Roos had owned fair portions of this quarter, but Glenorchy not going away. And all of a sudden, just 6 points the difference. Clarence bang the ball down the line, steal at the back, unable to take the mark. Josh Green roves the football and just kicks it to no one in the end. It's all Tom Cleary for Glenorchy. Takes his time and just kicks it back to where it came. And in the end, a couple of numbers for the Magpies out the back as Wyatt links up with Geared, whose kick isn't his best, out of bounds on the full. Clarence led off there. Zach Buchner is forced to play on, bring the ball back into play. Just going to kick the ball down the line. Again, just turnover after turnover for both sides as Wyatt takes the mark, defensive side of the wing.
So the big fella will just steady things down, and then he'll send it long. It's the numbers favouring the Roos here, so it wasn't the greatest decision of all time. Big Bush just able to go back and grab that one, but only a 1-goal lead. They've seen this lead dissipate in the third term under the weight of Ben Camerick. It's just end-to-end, launched down the line and turn it over at the moment. And we're going to have a rinse and repeat of that as Tom Cleary's picked this one up. No inclination to go the switch here, I think. And he'll just bang it back down the line once more. And once again, it favours the Clarence player. And this time it's going to be taken there by the big Bush. Again, Bushner and Cleary just kicking to each other at the moment. Now we've got a ball in dispute in midfield. Burrowing in on that one. Did he jump on top of it? It might need to get out here. It does eventually, and now we should have a ball up.
I think you mentioned an unforced error earlier in the game, and it felt like I was watching a bit of tennis there, just back and forth, back and forth.
Not the prettiest football, has
it?
Green has a fumble there. Jackson goes in. Slightly in his back, I thought, was Daly. Trying to get out of there was Howard, and then bursting through was the behemoth Wyatt, who thumps it long. It was a 4-on-1 back there, and always favouring the Roos. Though they've not cleared the area particularly well. That was some nice play, and that's surely high contact there against Callan Daly. And sparked a little bit of afters too, as it's quickly taken by Jack Preshaw. The fight continues on the near wing here, just trying to rip him off the mighty boost.
Jumpers are gone.
Instead, we've seen some jumpers being removed. There's plenty of feeling in this one, Oz.
Certainly here, Clarence have got a big challenge here from the Roos. You see Jackson need to be separated from his opponent in Goodsell. Back in play. It's going to be Rybelt over the football. Plenty of bodies around this ball here. Harper at the bottom of the pack. Howard laying the tackle. You just feel the intensity's gone up a little bit the last couple of minutes. Largely thanks to Ben Disco Camerick. Up and about the Glenorchy Magpies. 6 points adrift at the moment. Harper wrapped up in the Howard tackle. Does well to get the handball out there, does Harper. In pursuit is Barwick for Clarence. Gone a little quiet last little while, Barwick. Gets the ball back again. Kicks the ball to half forward, looking for Paprotny. Roll out of bounds for a throw in. Haven't called Barwick an awful lot since quarter time. He's the sort of player who can really make the most of his opportunities, though.
Yeah, going to get involved in the midfield there, wasn't it? Just pushing up, trying to get something down this end of the field, because Glenorchy have really dominated this quarter for the most part of it. As the ball's tumbled back in once again. Green competing this time against Howard. Jackson at the fall of it, drove it inside 50. Couldn't quite mark Barwick on that occasion. Working his way through Hanslow. Got the handball out. The snap from the pockets. He's just offline. And in fact, won't trouble the scorers. We've ticked by 26 minutes here in the third term. Clarence had skipped out to a very comfortable lead. However, Ben Camerick has kicked 4 goals in this term and 5 for the afternoon to bring the Magpies right back into it. Josh Green couldn't quite swoop on this one. Charging out his Rundle. Delivers a nice little ball into the midfield for Thompson. Takes it, keeps it moving quickly, just tumbled it forward. And he's found his man. Guess who? It's Camerick. He gives this one off this time. He doesn't go for number 6, but chips it for Roberts. And this should be a certainty. And this should level the scores. Ben Camerick. Well, unselfish on that occasion.
Just a cheeky smile on his face as well. He's thinking, I probably could have pocketed that one myself, but he's going to bring Adam Roberts into the game.
Well, a big opportunity for Roberts. He does not miss. And we are level at KG5. They have come storming back into this one, the Magpies. As we tick towards the three-quarter time siren, we have got a real game in prospect now. They've made the use of the wind at their backs. And Camerick is running the show.
Yeah, there's great composure from Camerick, not just to blaze away. The way he's playing, he probably would have kicked it, but nice work to spot up Adam Roberts, who made no mistake. And I'll tell you what, at half-time, 24 points of difference it was. It felt like the way Clarence had wrestled momentum back late in the second term that it was really going to be the Roos by how many. But full credit to this young Glenorchy side. They've levelled things up. 27.5 minutes into the third quarter. Set for a grandstand finish here.
And a very gutsy effort indeed. And it started here in the engine room. They've been really good in the middle of this quarter as this one's banged forward by Daly. Almost a mark taken down there. Not quite Goodsell, who's impressed today, the young forward. Great attack on the football. He's led up and presented well all afternoon. There'll be a ball up just outside the arc of 50. The Magpies are surging here. You feel like Clarence are just baying for that three-quarter time break just for the time being. It has really swung round here at KG5. Here's Jackson, was prominent early, sends this one down the line. A good strong mark taken back there by Harry Gunter, who looks up. You see a lot he likes, so he might just let the big men set themselves. Demands a lead and then chips it over the top. Found his target there. Is slowly just going to work it around here. Back he goes for Gunther. Patient from the Magpies here. Suspect they know how many seconds are left in the quarter and are just going to ensure that they can't be scored against back the other way as well. Gunther, long ball, almost marked down there by Howard. Clarence will try and clear the area now. Wiley with a sweeping handball. And eventually they're able to bounce off half-back pretty nicely. Green the target there. Couldn't quite come up with the football though. Charging through with it was Meredith. And he worked it forward to Oakley. Searching ball, puts the pressure on the skipper, or the coach rather, in Weberley, and he was well up to the task.
Yeah, great mark taken by Jeremy Weberley. He's been enormous this afternoon for the Roos. He's just going to kick to the outer side. Pack's going to form, coming at the back, unable to take the mark there. The Clarence player, Camrick now, dangerous position. He's got the ball at half forward. He's going to kick it to a dangerous spot. Two Clarence players against Goodsall. In the end, numbers do go the way of the Roos as they barrel the ball back out of defence. But Glenorchy got a couple of players lined up. Hanslow combines with Preshaw out to Ethan Jackson. Just decides to take a moment or so to ease things off. Dishes the handball off to Preshaw, wins it back to Jackson, dances around Zach Webster. A bit of class there from Ethan Jackson as he kicks the ball up to half forward. His target there was well and truly outgunned, but Preshaw's there for the Roos. He gets off to Harper, one of the leaders of this Clarence side. Dinky ball inside the forward pocket, just misses the target, and Kieran Howlett. So they'll have a ball in, left forward pocket for the Roos, dying stages of the third quarter.
Went off the hook there a little, and that will be the final action of this third quarter. The siren sounding there, and Howlett might have had a shot after the siren with just a little more composure to find him. Couldn't do so though, and Clarence, well, they were leading comfortably. The Glenorchy Magpies have come storming back in this one. It's the Ben Camrick show here at KG5. He was the story in that third quarter. Kick 4, and the Magpies have drawn it back level. Clarence, well, I suppose they've now got to compose themselves and say, we've got the scoring end, we've got the wind in the final term, we can attack a little bit more. They haven't got the lead, so we should win from here. But it's tough to just flick that switch at times, and they've just had a quarter where they've been significantly outplayed, Anthony.
Absolutely, and we've talked about the inexperience of this Glenorchy side, but with the youth, there's a bit of excitement and a bit of dare, and I think this Glenorchy side, they would be full of confidence. They didn't play last week. This is their first outing for season 2021, and they're in this game up to their eyeballs, all square with a quarter to play. We know this Clarence team is quite young as well, but they do have those seasoned, experienced bodies, the Weberleys, the Greens, the Garlands, the Nortons of the world, even the Ethan Jacksons and Jared Harpers. But so I think it should hold Clarence in good stead, but I'm keen to see the dare from this Glenorchy side. If they can keep playing the way they were playing in that third term, they're going to be well and truly with a chance to win. And as you mentioned, it was around the stoppages they were able to really get on top. The ruck contests, I'd be interested to see the hit-out numbers. I think they're probably fairly even since Wade Wall had that period of time off the ground. He was dominating early. But yeah, the Glenorchy midfield really able to get on top, and the crazy thing about that was a lot of the time it was with Camrick inside 50 rather than being in the middle of the ground. Yeah,
it was a real switch. They just started winning the ball out of there, which is why, the wind's certainly been a factor. Clarence their ball movement wasn't at all good that quarter, and I didn't fancy kicking into the wind. That's going to change, but unless they can make a change at the coalface as well, it might not matter, because they were really getting beaten pretty handily there. In the last 10 minutes of that quarter, Glenorchy really stepped it up, and best quarter they've played in this game, that's for sure. So Clarence, they're going to need a little bit more than just the wind, I think, although you'd still say they should win from here. It's not quite a straightforward proposition as it was looking when they were, 25, 30 points ahead midway through that term.
Certainly, that's it. A really intriguing last quarter coming up. Just before we take a short break, go through the goal kickers. Benny Camrick, 5 goals for the Magpies. Singles to Cameron Goodsall, Adam Roberts and Callan Daly. For Clarence, 3 goals to Oliver Preshaw, 2 to Josh Green, and singles to Tyson Hanslow, Luke Swinton and Jacques Barwick. A huge final quarter coming up. It's all square at KG5. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back with you shortly. We're all set for a grandstand finish at KG5. Glenorchy and Clarence, the traditional rivals, they're all square at 8-4-52 apiece heading into the final term. A 5-goal quarter to the Glenorchy Magpies, and 4 of them coming courtesy of Ben Camerick. It's just changed the context of this game. 52 apiece heading into the final term. Umpire Sam Bridges with the ball in hand gives a thumbs up, raises the football. We are about to have a very intriguing final quarter get underway here at KG5 as the 2 ruckmen compete in the middle of the ground. Howard and Wall, one down by the Clarence player. With the numbers now, Glenorchy. Roberts competing with Webley, wrapped up in a tackle. Roberts does well to get the handball out, only as far as the Clarence player is wrapped up in a gang tackle. We'll have a stoppage inside the centre square. Andrew Cooling set for a really intriguing finish to this game.
Yeah, all square as we start the final term. Can't ask for much more than that. Who's going to pull out the goods here in the final quarter? Clarence, you fancy, will have the wind at their backs, but Glenorchy have really come firing back in this one. You can see the immediate impact on that kick there from Webley. Picked up here by Cleary, sends it down the line. Looks up, doesn't see anything he likes there, Rybelt. And eventually just thought his way through it pretty well. Good composure there. The Magpies going to try and work it forward with these small little chip kicks now that they're back into the wind. So the game plan changes. Here is the man of the moment, Camerick, who sends it long. That's a great mark. Strong hands. I've been really impressed by young Cameron Goodsill today. Looks a tremendous prospect, and he sends this one deep inside 50, and he finds Callan Daly leading out. Beautiful controlled football from half back to the forward pocket there from the Magpies.
Certainly was, and Goodsill once again involved. Known him as largely a defender to start his TSL career, but really lively inside 50.
He's looking at a revelation up there at the moment, really showing some good hands. And Callan Daly to put the Magpies ahead here. He comes in, he swings it towards goal. Does it have the legs? Not quite. And that right there is the big difference in this quarter versus the last one. The wind, that one just hitting that wall there, just holding up into it and falling short. Not quite going to be as easy as it was in the third quarter for them. Well, it was easy, but the kicks were carrying from 50 from their end.
Certainly Warwick can see that booming kick out of defence for Clarence almost reaches the centre circle. It's going to come back with interest though. The handball just didn't quite work to Wyatt, but again hurried the ball forward, and Callan Daly, he bobs up once again. He's going to have his second look at goal for the quarter. We've barely played 2.5 minutes.
A little bit closer this time, so the distance shouldn't be an issue, and a great chance here. Some good work at ground level there, and they've started this quarter just as they ended the third. Great intent from the Magpies.
It's Callan Daly, right spot at the right time, having a shot on goal. Second of the quarter on the way, misses to the other side on this occasion. So, opportunity to make a big statement there for Glenorchy goes begging. Clarence, they're trailing by 2 points, and the Magpies making the early runnings to start this final term.
Could be costly as that's an ugly looking kick from Keegan Wiley. He's turned it straight over. Guess who? He's just had his head ripped off. He's going to have a shot for goal. It's Ben Camerick for 6. High tackle, too slick. They're worried about just trying to get a body on him. And here is Ben Camerick again. Yeah. Easy decision. Jackson going in there, and then, yeah, Keegan Wiley compounding his error really after turning over on the kick out.
Yeah, and right in front of the umpire. The umpire wasn't going to miss that one. So, Benny Camerick, can he start this final term like he had the third?
To put his side 8 points ahead. Ben Camerick coming in here. He's kicked 5. A little stutter. Then sends it goalward. And he's missed. So 3 straight misses to start the final term for the Magpies. And Clarence will be breathing a sigh of relief. They need to turn the trajectory of this game, but boy, they're lucky to only be 3 points down.
Yeah, I don't think Clarence have really got the ball past centre in this quarter so far. Plenty of questions being asked as dancing around, putting himself under pressure was Paprotny. The tackle laid, the umpire opts to let the ball go as Callan Daly finds a bit of space. His kick was intercepted as it went. Jeremy Webley mops up on the last line of defence, and Clarence once again breathe a sigh of relief. Have a player out here, and Ethan Jackson. Now, can the Roos turn defence into offence here as the kick goes over the top, finds McCallum, goes down the line. It's going to be mopped up by Wyatt. Back to Blowfield, now to Gunther. He goes into Howard. Loopy handball from Howard to the run of his teammate there in Patterson, who's put under pressure, made the mistake. Josh Green just kicks it off the ground himself. He's got his third for the afternoon, and I tell you what, that is a deflating moment for the Glenorchy Magpies. Clarence doing all the defending to start this quarter, get the ball to the other end and capitalise on the mistake.
That's the 2-goal turnaround. Callan Daly, he had 3 chances there in the opening 4 minutes to find a goal. Missed 2 set shots, one to the left, one to the right, and then put the third one just straight to Jeremy Weberly as he kicked it along the ground. Add that to the miss from Camerick. That's 4 good chances Glenorchy have had to score a goal here. They missed them all, and then just an absolute gift. Just a sloppy turnover under no pressure whatsoever. You leave it on the deck. And Josh Green with his second off the ground for the day. Just the little right butt square number, playing a bit of FIFA here. The finesse shot from Josh Green there. Easy as you like. Side foot's at home, and the Roos have got the lead completely against the run of play in the opening 5 minutes here. How will the hosts respond? Can they respond immediately? Good man have the football, though he handballed it straight to the shoulder of Wiley on this occasion. Slightly high-looking tackle. Play allowed to continue here. Burrowing in after it was Preshaw, and he'll be held up. And we'll have a ball up inside 50.
So Matthew Joseph playing that last tackle. We haven't called his name much today, Matthew Joseph, but he's the sort of player that if he gets half an inch, he can really make you pay as well. Looking, they're the sort of players we're going to need to stand up now for the Magpies.
Down inside 50, bustling through was Jackson. He's lifted early in the last here. Handball comes out. Webster bobbing up there, looking to influence things. Jackson again at the bottom of the pack. Charging through after that one was Thompson. Going to come to a standstill again, I think. Wade Wall will be now called for the ball up. Grab that one. And eventually, we'll have a reset.
So Howard and Wall to do battle hit. One down. Oh, lovely shark there from Jack Webster, doing it off the tap work of Wall. The umpire had a decision to make, and it's going to be holding the football on Zach Webster. Great tackle from Jack Preshaw. Perhaps hard done by it there, Webster. But
I didn't feel he had prior there.
He seemed to be beset upon as soon as he got the football, but a good tackle nonetheless from Preshaw. He drives the ball out of defence. Flying there was Gunther, unable to take the mark. Glenorchy with the numbers at the back of the pack. Dinky kick spilled by Oakley at the last moment as Webster just barges through. Gets one back on Jack Preshaw. And the umpire says, I'm sorry, Zach, you're going to get another free kick. Thinking about the potential of a 50. No, it's going to go back to Preshaw. So Preshaw and Webster just exchanging a couple of pleasantries. And tell you what, Jack Preshaw, he brings a bit of just a bullish nature to this midfield group for the Roos.
Yeah, it was bull. Pull at the red flag there. He's gone, I could try and move the ball. I could try and move the man off the ball. And that's what he opted for.
Zach Webster getting one back on Preshaw, and Swinton just spills what he probably should have taken. He gets the handball over the top to Bushner. Drives the ball out of defence. Nicely done to his teammate in Harper. Just at half back now for Clarence, Jared Harper. High ball down the line. Mark almost taken by Joseph, but it rolls out of bounds for a throw in. Harper spending most of his time on the wing or on the ball today. A couple of seasons ago, he was almost the focal point of Clarence's forward line. Now you look down there and you've got Green, Garland and Steele. Things have certainly changed this Clarence lineup the last couple of seasons.
Noah Holmes often down there as well as another option when he's not on Devil's duty. So they've got some potency about them, don't they? But lacking a little bit of supply in this one at the moment, Ed.
Certainly are. Here might be an opportunity, though, as Preshaw gets the ball, a floating kick inside 50. Never really in the vicinity for any of his teammates. It's going to roll out of bounds. So, dangerous spot for the Glenorchy defence. Magpies 3 points down at the moment. We've played 8.5 minutes. Garland and Cleary. Garland certainly hasn't dominated this game, but he does provide that focal point. Cleary wins that ball down. Straight down to Wyatt, who goes to Gunther, the tall man combining for the Magpies. Cleary, hurried kick out of defensive 50. Howard has the sit and takes the mark on the chest. Read the ball better than anyone else as he wheels around, looks for a runner. He's got Camerick there. In the end, opts for an unconventional looking kick on the left. Weberly halved the contest. Harper there for support. Paprotny as well. Dinky ball down the line. As Clarence looked to reset at half forward. Assessing the options. In the end, it's just going to be a long ball inside 50 for the Roos, making the most of the breeze. Out the back is Steele. in the end rolls out of bounds for another throw in. So Clarence, last couple of minutes, just peppering the inside 50.
Be a good result there, getting the ball in rather than the behind, and they have just started to lift a little here, Clarence, getting their hands on the ball a little more after really been denied to them for much of the second half. Just the one goal in this term, it was to Clarence. Josh Green with a bit of a gift, really. Glenorchy have been the ascendancy for much of it. Here again is Camerick, and that's an ill-directed kick, and out on the full there on this occasion. And present Jared Harper with the opportunity to send it back inside for the Roos. The Magpies, plenty of numbers back behind the ball here. Can they pierce the net here? He launches it deep, and the numbers always with the Pies. And Tom Cleary, the intercepting mark, just stands that one up for an eternity. Nicholson composed under the ball, almost gave Ballsman a play on the ball. Just a little too much loft on that one. That's a rather poor kick too. It's going to come straight back to them. Jackson wanted inside. He was ignored. Went more centrally instead to Preshaw. Ran into a little bit of trouble, but the handball was a good one. Found Proprotny. Deep from Proprotny, but just parking back there once again. The Magpies defence well set up. And Webster, very, very composed stuff, and there's a behind paid there, I believe.
Looks like it was, yeah.
So, can add one more to the score there, and Glenorchy will try and repel. The little chip ball finds Nathan Blowfield. The half back, looks up. He goes short too. Finds Rybelt. You can see it's the way the Magpies have played into the wind each quarter. When they've had the wind at their backs, they've kicked it long, they've gone to the contest. They've played it an entirely different way when they've gone into the wind. As this one will hit the deck, and some good strength is shown there by the big man Wyatt. Taking it away though, it was McCallum. That was surely a high tackle, I thought. Jackson, play allowed to continue. Well, it wasn't Jackson, it was Jackson banging away with the ball now, and he charges it forward for the Roos. It's a good-looking kick for Green. Their big guns getting involved there. Ethan Jackson with a lovely kick, and Josh Green just protecting the space expertly. And has a chance to extend the lead to 10.
Yeah, lovely work from Ethan Jackson. Just got himself into a good position, had that extra bit of room, and composed himself to hit up Josh Green inside 50. It's been busy today, Josh Green. He's got 3 goals, one in the first quarter, one in the second, and so far the only goal of the last. Here's a really good opportunity for him to make things really tough for the Magpies. So Green begins his approach, crosses 50. Ball's on the way, has the breeze at his back. Josh Green, hits the post. So the Magpies breathe a sigh of relief. Josh Green unable to take full toll. Makes it a 5-point ball game. Almost 13 minutes gone in this final term.
Goal number 4 for Josh Green, that one, as Webster launches this one. That's a really strong mark. That's fantastic stuff there. Once again, the big man, Gunther, showing some supreme aerial ability. Rybelt demands a lead, none forthcoming. The big man riding shotgun wanted it. Didn't head that way. Good strong tackle there from Proprotny. It was crucial he won that one for the Reds, and he might have sparked a counter-attack here. It's a good mark taken by Tremaine. Some strong hands in the air from the Roos here, and Tremaine just works it down the line. Just a chipped little ball for Jack Preshaw. Been good today. He works it inside for Jared Harper. Patient, probing build-up this from Clarence. They lead by 5 points. The game on their terms just for now as he sends it long. Couldn't quite find Garland on that occasion. Handballed back inside, looking for the safety of the line. Gunther, not entirely sure what Webster was trying there with a volley out of midair. Green works it back centrally, a 2-on-1, and the numbers win out as Howard punches it through from behind. And it's now an even 6-point lead for the Roos.
Really unconventional work there from Zach Webster, tied up in the pocket, but in the end, no damage done. So one straight kick. Glenorchy, he misses at the start of the quarter, starting to look really dangerous. Rundle just composed himself in time, lost his footing. In the end, handball over the top. Again, it's just flirting with the boundary line, out of bounds on the full. It's probably been the difference in crucial moments of this game. Just the lack of polish on occasion. So Clarence to bring the ball back into play. It's going to be Borsboom. One of the inclusions today, just launches in the Josh Green direction. Got a bit of height there to Green. Pre-Shaw at the ground level. He gets the handball off. A shot on goal. The Glenorchy players are calling for touch. What does the umpire say? That's a goal. Jack Barwick, he kicks his second of the afternoon. The Glenorchy players were pleading with the umpire that it was touched, but Jack Barwick, right spot at the right time. Nice handball from Pre-Shaw. And Barwick immediately onto the boot. Made no mistake.
It was an immediate shout from Braden Patterson that he felt he'd got a hand on it. I'm not really going to be able to tell much from that, I don't think. But Jacques Barwick has shown a little bit here this afternoon for the Roos, and that's a crucial goal. A 12-point break now when goals are so hard to come by. They fought hard, the Magpies. Just haven't quite, you mentioned a moment ago, again, reiterating those misses at the start of the quarter might come back to haunt them. Well, they're starting to loom particularly large now. They need a centre break, but it's going to go the other way. Baxter Norton handed it off to Ethan Jackson. Sends it in the Hanslow direction. Will it stay in for him? Weaving and some tight work on the boundary line from Hanslow. Inside 50. Just bang goaled by Garland. And in the end, out of bounds for a throw in. And for a moment, that one was going to take an accommodating bounce for him. We've seen a pretty miraculous bounce for a goal earlier today at this end. Not to be on this occasion. But Clarence just retained control of this one, I think. They've wrestled their way back on top. And they've got a comfortable little break. Glenorchy still with it all to do here as they try and charge off half back. But the end-to-end game proving a lot more difficult kicking into the wind as Weberly inserts himself and sends this one inside 50. Tidy pick up there from Green and he snaps it deep. Garland down there, but again, coming across was Harrison Gunther. Been very impressive today. Spoils this one, but the ball at the right end of the field as Clarence are concerned and eating up quite a bit of clock just now.
Yeah, Garland just looked a little proppy. He looks to be okay now as he sets himself for the right contest, and that's a really promising sign for Clarence that against the Glenorchy team throwing everything at them, they're doing this without Garland absolutely dominating the game. He certainly hasn't been poor, just hasn't had the delivery for the most part. As Clarence bring the ball up to Glenorchy to half back. Weberly drives the ball down the line. Flirting with the boundary line is Hanslow. Just keeps it in play, but Camrick decisively brings him over the line. A statement there from Benny Camrick. It's been enormous today. 5 goals. 5 of Glenorchy's 8.
From midfield.
From midfield, with 4 of them coming in the one quarter.
And a goal assist.
And the goal assist, absolutely. We found Adam Roberts.
Yeah.
Quite a remarkable afternoon from Ben Camrick. Green wins that one down. It's Glenorchy now under the pump. As Clarence drive the ball inside 50. Garland out of midair. Kick the ball straight to Barwick, who has a shot on goal and just misses. Just a little volley out of thin air from Garland. Not into the lap of Barwick. He's just starting to get himself involved once again. He's got 2 for the afternoon.
Clarence starting to get right on top now as he'll try and launch this one along Will Webster, but again it just holds in the breeze. Jackson down there. Well, he's somehow extracted himself from that, but then gets tackled for a 3rd time, and surely the umpire's going to blow his whistle at some point. And he does, and awards Callan Daly the free kick. He turns and goes quickly. It's a good kick too, and nicely marked by Chris Howard. Just struggled a little in this area in the final term. Can they make something happen on this occasion? The handball just a bit behind Rundle on that occasion. Made it tough for him. Tackle laid by Howard was a good one. They'll have another ball up. But it's a handy break Clarence have. 18.5 of tick by in this final term. Magpies have been struggling to get the ball forwards in this final term. Can they conjure something now? It's on the deck, sliding in after it was geared. And again, just in a bit of a holding pattern at the moment.
White and Green competing in the ruck for their respective sides. Sam Green has really stepped up, particularly in the second half, doing a lot of the ruck work. White on that occasion read the ball best. Handball just a little too much for Roberts as Harper dances around one and does well to get the handball out to Sam Green. Just defensive side of the centre circle, kicks the ball to half forward in the Josh Green direction. Scott Patterson for company. Josh Green in the pocket. Smart little kick. Almost got through the back. In the end, Nice work from the Glenorchy defence just to swoop in. Josh Green almost taken high. Flying shot on goal from the Roos here. And the forward line is Preshaw in the goal square. And he's going to have a very regulation look at goal here. He's already got 3 for the afternoon. Took another strong mark in under a fair bit of duress, it must be said, and he's done that quite a bit today. Now, I did say regulation, but it is a tricky spot to kick from. A couple of options he's just running through in his head at the moment. He's going to wheel around on the right and make no mistake. So, a nice finish there from Oliver Preshaw. He's got 4 for the afternoon. A great return for him. And Clarence just making sure of this game now, starting to flex their muscle, Andrew Cooling.
Yeah, that might be the sealer, I reckon, that one from Oliver Preshaw. He's been very good today. He's given him a consistent target in the forward line all afternoon. And I would think that as we tick into red time, a 19-point gap will be a bit too much for the Magpies to rein in now. So they've reasserted themselves in this last quarter, Clarence. They're just going to complete the job now. But they've fought back well. They've taken their chances. And a 19-point lead with just added time really left here. It's hard to see how the Magpies can possibly pull it out now, but we'll see if there is a late miracle for them. They're going to need an immediate response. If anyone's going to provide it, it would be that man Camerick, who got it forward once more for them. And then pounces on the loose ball, Camerick, and then chips it, but this time he was just off target, taken away by McCallum, and then they'll drive it further afield. Good contest provided by Webster. Then just barged into Harper. Tough coming together there as they bump off each other and out of play. But Webster, I think, sensing the desperation, just really pushing up here, knowing time to roll the dice. Got to make something happen.
It's been good today, Zach Webster. Certainly can't fault his endeavour, or the endeavour of the Magpies in general. They've been really impressive, particularly since half-time as Daly brings that ball forward. It's going to roll out of bounds for another throw-in. So the Roos, narrow loss last week to Lauderdale, a game that was really in the balance for the most part. Lauderdale kept goalless in that last quarter last week. Clarence just unable to quite do enough. Looks like they should get on the winners list today as Webster brings the ball forward for Glenorchy. Nice mark taken. And half forward, as the Magpies look to hit the scoreboard. They move the ball quickly. Driving ball towards the goal square. Pack forms. Out the back there was Goodsell, unable to take the mark. Clarence trying to bring the ball out. Nice kick off the ground. Finds Kieran Howlett, half back. Stops and props. Waits for some reinforcements in the end. A kick over the top. But gives a fair bit to do, and you can see the Glenorchy players still throwing themselves in at this contest as Baxter Norton massages the ball to half forward in the direction of Tremaine. Only as far as Blowfield, whose handball just bounces off the chest of Cooper Meredith. Blowfield goes back in to provide support, but it will be a free kick going the way of Cooper Meredith. Again, not a great disposal, but just enough to Zach Webster. Kicks the ball to half forward. Weberly almost chops it off, goes back in and gets it the second time. He's going to have to a third, but Preshaw's there for support. Jack variety. As Clarence bring the ball up to the wing. Gunther did well to keep the ball in front, unable to take clean disposal. Paprotny comes in for the Roos, combines with Jackson. Jeremy Weberly with that bounce off half back. Into the middle of the ground now, Kieran Howlett. He's got a runner out wide. Clarence driving the ball inside 50 via Swinton, hitting Colin Garland on the chest. One of the first times we've actually seen Colin Garland with some space to lead into. And a nice mark taken inside 50.
As clean a passage as we've seen all day. That lovely work, tacking through the corridor with speed, with hands. It was a nice kick from Swinton, put to the advantage of Big Garland, and doesn't really have the service today, but he gets on the end of this one. A good chance to seal the deal and extend it to 25 points here. Big Colin Garland. A fairly quiet afternoon, but he's competed well, and he can add a goal to show for it here. Not with kicking like that, he can't. Well off target, so the margin stays at 20 points, but they've done enough here at Clarence to steady the ship in the last quarter and get the result. Obviously, the win's been a pretty big factor in the way the game's kind of seesawed about, but I think Jeremy Webley would be pretty happy with the effort in this final term.
Yeah, absolutely, and I think even if Garland doesn't have a big day, he's just taking away a really good defender and giving opportunities to guys like Oliver Preshaw, who's bobbed up with 4.
Handball back from Rybelt. They've got themselves into a little bit of trouble here. Rundle, he's running out of room. Good tackling pressure being applied there. And the throw in. Here we come, 24 and a half have ticked by in this final term. Glenorchy just running out of steam, just so much more difficult to transition the ball from half back to half forward. Free kick, in fact, has been spotted, and it's going to be Oscar Paprotny. So, an opportunity to extend the lead even further. Number 18, Paprotny. Difficult kick, this one. He stands it up. It's working back nicely, working back very nicely indeed. Oscar Paprotny splits the middle with a perfect kick. It was a tough angle to work from, but he's produced a wonderful goal there, Paprotny. And the Roos now by 26 points.
Yeah, lovely finish from Paprotny. That's a tough pocket to kick a goal from, and it's a fair bit of distance there as well, but he did really well. You can see the efforts of both Wyatt and Gunther on the goal line, but no mistake from Paprotny, and another one of these young Clarence players who has probably had close to 20, 30 games of TSL experience under his belt now, despite being so young. And I think Jeremy Webberley and Clarence fans will be pretty excited by this real generation next that's coming through at the moment for the Roos.
Yeah, I suppose there's been a bit spoken about the generation next, and I suppose the demographics of the league this week in the media, and I suppose some talking about, we want the Devils to be developing players who are going to be, 100, 200 TSL game players as well. What are your thoughts on the rhetoric around that this week?
I think Ethan Jackson is an example here, is one of those players that got an opportunity at Devils level and I think has really improved as a footballer since his earlier Mariners years, and he's probably the prototype example of someone, as we see him here, just drifting towards half forward. A kick inside 50, it's going to land in the arms of Jake Steele. There's another Devils player, and I think Ethan Jackson's almost the perfect example of someone that spent a bit of time in the Devils system, spent a bit of time as an overager as well, and Clarence are probably going to reap the benefits now as a seasoned TSL midfielder, despite only being in his early 20s.
Well, he's made quite the start to the year, hasn't he, Ethan Jackson? Very good again today. Not quite the eye-popping numbers of last week, but a good effort, and might just add a goal assist to his day here. In fact, he certainly will, because it looks like a 50's been paid, making an absolute certainty of this, although still decided to just kick it from about 15 out anyway. But he puts it through easily enough, Jacob Steele, and they've put some emphasis on this final score now. A comfortable win, it's going to look on the final scoreboard, although it has been anything but, as a bit of a fracas continues over there. There has been plenty of feeling today.
Yeah, these two clubs, so much is made of the rivalry, and we've seen in previous seasons, Paul Kennedy, particularly for Glenorchy, really saying that they talk a lot about the rivalry. And I think when he first came to the club, a couple of staff members and long-time volunteers had said that we don't mind if you miss finals as long as you beat Clarence throughout the season. So obviously that won't happen today, but I think Glenorchy's endeavour has certainly risen to the occasion to really put up a fight against the Roos. So a lot of people are favouring as a side that's going to be pushing come the business end of the year. Good test for this young Glenorchy side to start season 2021.
Well, after a disappointing loss last week, Clarence, they've got their finals campaign. Their push on track here today with a win. As I've said, there's a few fancying this. Nice turn of speed there from Callan Daly. And he's found Cameron Goodsell once again in the pocket. And here is a young man who's made a real impression this afternoon. And he's really been a strong target all afternoon inside that forward 50 for them. And he goes back and he kicked another one, Cameron Goodsell, across the face. Although, again, just holds up in the wind, and Clarence will escort this one through. But obviously some Devils players to come back into this side, although they're not regularly going to be available for them, Clarence. But full strength, they should have a pretty handy 22 to pick from. And they'll be happy with the win here. Made to work for it by this Magpies team. But a pretty entertaining Saturday afternoon of football here at KG5 as their chance for one late Glenorchy goal. Not quite on this occasion.
Certainly a new look Glenorchy outfit. I'm sure Paul Kennedy would take plenty of positives out of this side today. As the siren sounds, Clarence running out winners here at KG5. The Magpies certainly threw a lot at them this afternoon, particularly in that third quarter, giving the Roos a bit of a scare, but in the end, it is Clarence running out winners 13-9, 87 to 8-7, 55. As you just touched on there, Andrew, an entertaining game of football. The Roos probably deserved winners come the end of the final siren.
Yeah, I think the Magpies just ran out of some legs in that last term, and obviously not kicking to the scoring end was going to make it even tougher for them. It was a good fight back for them in the third quarter because Clarence were dominating that game, and Josh Green, as we see here, just a little finesse through the middle there. One of his 3 for the day. Probably the most difficult of the 3 he kicked. The other 2, little Joe the Gooses in the goal square. But you'll have a look through the highlights and you'll see just a bit too much firepower in the final in that 450. I think had some good options down there today. Clarence, they took them. And Glenorchy, well, they dug in, fought back well in the third. But ultimately left themselves a bit too much to do. They needed to have a lead going into that last quarter, really. Coming in square was a great effort to get back to, but they just left themselves too big a hole.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's almost a little bit like the Kingborough North Hobart game last week, that almost coming from too far behind with the Demons last week, and you'll probably say the same about Glenorchy today. Ben Camrick, the star of the show for the Magpies with 5 goals. Singles to Callan Daly, Adam Roberts and Cameron Goodsall, who really impressed throughout the afternoon. For Clarence, quite a few different people bombing up to kick goals. Oliver Preshaw with 4, Josh Green with 3, singles, Jack Barwick with 2 as well, and then singles to Hanslow, Jake Steele and Luke Swinton. So the Roos, they respond after a narrow loss to Lauderdale last week. Lauderdale and Glenorchy to start the season, 2 of the big rivals, and they're all square at 1-1. Glenorchy, their first game of season 2021 ends in a loss, but I think there's plenty of positivity around KG5 at the moment. A new look outfit. I guess for yourself, Andrew, you've mentioned Cameron Goodsall a little bit today, but who were some of the other players that really stood out for both sides and impressed you?
Well, obviously, as you said, Camrick, just the star of the show. I think we joked about how tough it can be giving votes at times. I don't think there's any difficulty for me giving the 3 this afternoon. Not that I actually do that, but Ben Camrick, I thought he was outstanding. Kept his side in the game, kicked 5 goals from midfield, won the ball, made a few errors by foot, but he was outstanding. Cameron Goodsall, as you said, I loved his leading up at the ball all day. Showed some pretty good signs there. I thought Zach Webster took the game on all afternoon. Harry Gunther was really good in defence for the Magpies, but Clarence probably just had a few too many winners. It was a pretty solid team effort across the board, I thought, from Clarence. Wasn't really a standout 1 or 2 who carried them. I thought Jackson had a pretty good game in there. Norton did some nice things at times. Jared Harper worked his way into it. Oliver Preshaw was probably the one that really stood out for me. I thought he was fantastic in attack. Lachlan Borsboom, I thought, was really good. And probably the other one in that forward line was Jacques Barwick, who just looked lively, and something seemed to happen every time he got near the ball.
Yeah, absolutely. I'm looking forward to seeing how this Clarence team continues to gel as the year goes on. A lot of new faces there, and as you touched on, I think the Devils narrative is going to be a big storyline throughout the year as well. We've seen years gone by that players who have shown really good form at TSL level kind of bolt into Devils contention as the year goes on. So there's plenty for these young players to carry on with as season 2021 unfolds. The Roos have got North Launceston next weekend, Saturday afternoon blockbuster, and then Glenorchy, they're hosting Lauderdale at KG5. So a couple of big tests for this young Glenorchy outfit to start season 2021. But today, Glenorchy, 8-7-55 have fallen short up against Clarence, 13-9-87. A good win to the Roos. Thank you, Andrew. Great to be alongside yourself today. Thanks to Andrew McCarthy on the camera, Ash Wilkes on the buttons behind the scenes to bring this stream to you. Until next time, thanks for your company. We'll see you next week.